Chapter 44:13. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to fight our entire team alone? Although we've already suffered many casualties, we still have over 8,000 people left. Who are you looking down on? All the members of the Death God Army were enraged by Qin Feiyang's actions. Boom. More than 48,000 ultimate profundities of supreme laws crazily attacked Qin Feiyang. The sea region instantly evaporated. It was extremely terrifying. Congratulations, you've guessed correctly. I'm going to fight your 10th team alone. I want to see what else the Death God Army can do apart from having more people. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the 3,000 clones behind him activated their ultimate profundities. 21,000 profundities. Although the number was less than half of the opponents, with the eruption of the dual wills of the heavenly Tao, the power instantly soared to another level. Dual wills of the heavenly Tao against the first-level heavenly Tao was definitely a 1 versus 2 situation. In other words, Qin Feiyang's 18,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities could match the opponent's 36,000 ultimate profundities. 18,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities already had such terrifying power, let alone 3,000 ultimate laws of life and death. The ultimate profundities of life and death were originally stronger than the ultimate laws and ultimate profundities. Coupled with the dual wills of the heavenly Tao, it meant that Qin Feiyang's 3,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities could match the 9,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities that contained the heavenly Tao. 18,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities could match the opponent's 36,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities. 3,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities could match the opponent's 9,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities. In other words, Qin Feiyang's 21,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities could match the opponent's 45,000 ultimate laws and ultimate profundities. In the blink of an eye, the ultimate profundities of both sides collided with a loud bang, and an earth-shattering scene instantly appeared. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions like a torrent. This scene had never been seen before. This was also Qin Feiyang's first time fighting over 8,000 experts who had grasped the heavenly Tao's will. Crack. Rumble. Ultimate profundities continued to shatter, erupting into resplendent fireworks. The void, the firmament, and the earth here were all beaten into chaos, as if the world had just been created. A contest. In the end, Qin Feiyang was defeated. Although he had 2 wills of the heavenly Tao and the life and death law's ultimate profundity were very powerful, his opponents were far outnumbered. His 21,000 ultimate profound meanings were equivalent to the enemy's 45,000 ultimate profound meanings. However, the enemy had more than 8,000 people, so they had more than 48,000 ultimate profound meanings. This was the difference in numbers. If the other party had 600 or 700 fewer people, he would have had a chance of winning. Because losing 500 to 600 people was equivalent to losing 3,000 to 4,000 ultimate profundities. Puff. He spat out a mouthful of purple gold dragon blood. Qin Feiyang's face turned pale. Elder Qin, Little Qin Zi, Madman and White-Eyed Wolf were shocked. Don't panic. Qin Feiyang raised his hand to stop the 2 of them from assisting. He then raised his head to look at the remaining 3,000 ultimate mysteries. These 3,000 ultimate profound meanings were left behind by the members of the Death God Army, and they were charging toward him with shocking power. Although the members of the Death God Army had the upper hand, they didn't feel any joy at this moment, destroying 45,000 ultimate profound meanings by himself. In the entire Divine Kingdom, apart from Lu Yuntian, who also had 2 wills of the heavenly Tao and the life and death laws, who else could do this? It was so terrifying that it made them despair. If it was a one-on-one battle, only Lu Yuntian could fight Qin Feiyang. However, they didn't know that Lu Yuntian, who they had placed their hopes on, was actually Qin Feiyang's inner demons. Such a terrifying person must die. This was the thought in the minds of Dong Yuming and the members of the Death God Army. Now, Qin Feiyang had only grasped 6 ultimate profundities, but he already had such terrifying combat strength. If he were to master all the ultimate profundities of ultimate laws in the future, how terrifying would he be? There were a total of 9 ultimate profundities, and they were respectively time, space-time, death, life, devour, karma, destruction, nothingness, and light and darkness. It would be fine if this person did not have 3,000 incarnations. After all, it wasn't as if the central dynasty didn't have people who had mastered all the ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. But, however, having 3,000 incarnations was a different story. Once the 3,000 incarnations were activated, they would be able to activate a total of 27,000 ultimate profundities. Coupled with the dual will of the heavenly way, the 27,000 ultimate profundities would be able to rival 54,000 ultimate profundities of the same level. If his ultimate profundities of the law of life and death were included when it was time. With Qin Feiyang's strength alone, he could fight against 63,000 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. 63,000 profound meanings. Based on the Death God Army's members, if each of them had 6 profound meanings, they would need 11,000 people. 11,000 people had already exceeded the overall combat strength of their 10th squad. This was because their 10th squad, including the 2 commanders, only had 10,002 people. In other words, once Qin Feiyang mastered all the ultimate profundities of ultimate laws, he would be able to destroy an entire squad of the Death God Army with his combat strength alone. What kind of concept was this? Just the thought of it made their scalps turn numb. Therefore, they were determined not to allow this person to continue to grow. Otherwise, who would be able to suppress him in the future? Die! Dong Yuming roared. As the power of laws surged out, all the ultimate profundities of ultimate laws were activated in an instant. As the commander of the 10th squad, he was naturally more powerful than the members of the Death God Army. He had mastered a total of 8 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. In other words, apart from the law of light and darkness, he had mastered all the ultimate laws. The 8 ultimate profundities tore through the sky and followed behind the 3,000 ultimate profundities, charging toward Qin Feiyang. Do you think you can kill me just because you have a slight upper hand? Ignorance is really scary. There was a cold glint in Qin Feiyang's eyes. It was true that he was no match for these people in the collision of ultimate profundities. However, he still had the eye of heaven. Buzz. With a casual wave of his hand, a time formation appeared in the void under his feet. Roar. Following closely, accompanied by an earth-shattering dragon roar, the purple-gold dragon soul roared out. The Eye of Heaven was instantly activated. Eye of Heaven. Dong Yuming was shocked. Eye of Heaven, coupled with the time formation, I am an invincible existence. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. In an instant, Dong Yuming's 8 ultimate profundities and the other 3,000 ultimate profundities were all replicated. Bang! 2 waves of ultimate profundities collided once again. Not only Qin Feiyang, but Dong Yuming and the 8,000 members of the Death God Army also spat out a mouthful of blood. Obviously, they were all seriously injured. The 10th squad of the Death God Army only has this much ability? Qin Feiyang spoke, his eyes full of sarcasm. Dong Yuming clenched his fists tightly. This person's strength had far exceeded his imagination. Such means could no longer be described with the word strong. It was simply abnormal. Since we have already met, leave behind your ultimate profundities. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. The 3,000 clones waved their hands, and a time formation appeared under their feet. Many purple-gold dragon souls roared out, and the Eye of Heaven was activated. What? Dong Yuming's eyes trembled. Qin Feiyang alone had activated the Eye of Heaven, and he already had such terrifying prowess. Coupled with the 3,000 clones, how terrifying would it be? Now, they did not dare to activate their ultimate profundities. Because once the ultimate profundities were activated, the 3,000 clones would definitely replicate. This was not a matter of doubling or tripling. Because each of the 3,000 clones could replicate their ultimate profundities. One clone could replicate tens of thousands of ultimate profundities. 10 clones could replicate hundreds of thousands of ultimate profundities. How many could 3,000 clones replicate? Unbelievable. Commander, don't hesitate anymore. Quickly take out our trump card. A member roared. Trump card? Qin Feiyang was shocked. What kind of trump card did this person have? Dong Yuming stared at Qin Feiyang and laughed. You're very strong, but in front of me, your 3,000 clones and Eye of Heaven are useless. Boom. Accompanied by a loud noise, a terrifying aura rushed out from Dong Yuming's body. Following closely, a 3-foot-long sword appeared. It was colorful and peerless. Is this a sovereign weapon? No. This is the origin force. Old Qin, be careful. Frenzy shouted. This was what they had been afraid of. Although their current strength was very strong, no matter how strong they were no match for the origin force of the Divine Kingdom. Be destroyed for me. Dong Yuming laughed fiercely. The 3-foot-long sword formed by the origin force crazily attacked Qin Feiyang. Before it reached him, that terrifying edge directly destroyed Qin Feiyang and the 3,000 clones. Let's go. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He immediately activated his will of heaven and dual will of heaven, turned around, and rushed in front of Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf. He swept up the two of them and escaped without looking back. Why are you running? Aren't you very arrogant? If you have the ability, stay and fight me fair and square. Dong Yuming laughed wildly and chased crazily. So what if he had 3,000 clones? So what if he had mastered the ultimate profundities of the law of life and death, dual will of heaven and Eye of Heaven? In front of the origin force, he would always be an ant. Chapter 44:14. What bad luck! I wanted to capture them and rob them of their ultimate meaning. But I didn't expect that bastard to still have origin power. The madman and the white-eyed wolf were both furious. How much origin power did the Divine Kingdom leave behind for the Central Dynasty before leaving? With the dual wills of the Great Path, Dong Yuming and the others wouldn't be able to catch up to them. But if Dong Yuming blocked the entrance to the Central Dynasty, then they wouldn't have any hope of entering. Little Qinzi, think of a way. If we don't have the ability to fight against the origin power, it's useless even if we successfully enter the Central Dynasty. The white-eyed wolf frowned. If we don't have the ability to fight against the origin power, as the human sovereign said, then we'll be sending lambs to the tiger's mouth. The madman shook his head. You're thinking too much. How can we fight against the Divine Kingdom's origin power right now? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He wanted to shatter Dong Yuming's origin power with one punch, but his strength didn't allow it. The madman rolled his eyes and suggested, why don't you try using the origin power of the Black Tortoise Realm and see how much weaker it is compared to the Divine Kingdom's origin power? It's far from enough. Besides, it's not like you don't know. If I want to control the origin power of the Black Tortoise Realm, I first need that brat's permission. Qin Feiyang was helpless. The madman's mouth twitched. Why did it feel like Qin Feiyang, the ruler of the Black Tortoise Realm, was a bit useless? He didn't have any real power at all. You were so arrogant before. Why are you running now? What a bunch of useless dogs. If you have the guts, fight us head-on like a man. Don't make us look down on you. Not only Dong Yuming, but the members of the Life and Death Army also clamored. Bastard! Who are you calling useless dogs? The white-eyed wolf was furious. Calm down. They're mocking us because they want to provoke us to stop and fight them. Qin Feiyang comforted the white-eyed wolf and turned to look at Dong Yuming and the others, who were getting further and further behind. He sneered and said, You want us to fight with you? Sure, catch up to us if you can. So what if you have mastered the source energy? All you can do is watch us slip away right under your nose. Madman was also a very rational person. Not only was he not enraged, he even looked at Dong Yuming and the others and retorted sarcastically, I won't be angry. I won't be fooled. I'll anger you to death. This infuriated Dong Yuming and the others. Very soon, the three of them shook off the group of people and stopped in the air above a small island. Old Qin, why don't we think of a way to lure Dong Yuming away and then hunt down the members of the Death God Army? The madman's eyes flashed as he chuckled. Lure them away? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He frowned and asked, Who's going to be the bait? Nonsense. The madman and the white-eyed wolf said in unison as they looked at Qin Feiyang. You want me to be the bait? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Of course. You have mastered 2 wills of the heavens and your speed is faster than him. If you don't go, are we going to go? The white-eyed wolf was displeased. If he and the madman wanted to be the bait, they were simply courting death. Don't be so unreasonable. Although I have two wills of the heavens, there is still a risk when facing the source energy. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. Only with risks will there be gains. The madman laughed. Qin Feiyang's face twitched as he said helplessly, without my 3,000 incarnations, you can't beat the members of the Death God army. After all, their strength has surpassed yours. Who are you looking down on? Do you think that I absorbed the evil force for tens of thousands of years in the black tortoise world for nothing? Let me tell you, if I go all out now, they might not be my match. The madman laughed. Really? Qin Feiyang looked at the madman in doubt. The madman said impatiently, don't dawdle. Just say it. Do you want to be the bait? Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded. As long as you are confident in capturing the members of the Death God army, I can be the bait. Don't worry. However, to be on the safe side, it's best to let Lin Yi, Demon Ancestor, and Mu Tianyang come out to help. The madman bared his teeth. With the help of Lin Yi and the other two's battle souls, it would definitely be like adding wings to a tiger. All right, but you have to ensure their safety. They haven't mastered the wills of the heavens yet, and they don't have much combat power. Qin Feiyang reminded. Don't worry. We will protect them closely. The white-eyed wolf laughed. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? If you go to protect them closely, who will hunt down the members of the Death God army? Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and Lin Yi and the other two appeared. What's wrong? Lin Yi looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Madman, white-eyed wolf. I need your help. Qin Feiyang briefly explained the situation. When Lin Yi and the other two heard it, they immediately looked up at the sky above the sea in front of them. Their eyes were full of shock. More than 8,000 members of the Death God army and the power of the origin. This is too terrifying. You guys wait first. With more than 8,000 members of the Death God army, even if we capture all of them alive, we can only get more than 40,000 ultimate profound inheritance. Is it worth taking such a risk? Mu Tianyang frowned. Ugh. Qin Feiyang, madman, and white-eyed wolf were stunned. What's wrong? Is there a problem with my words? Looking at the reaction of the three, Mu Tianyang was suspicious. I say, Brother Mu, your tone now is really worse than athlete's foot. The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Hey. How can you say that? What do you mean by my tone is worse than athlete's foot? You have athlete's foot. Also, according to seniority, you have to call me old ancestor. You actually shamelessly call me brother. Your face is really big. Mu Tianyang's face turned dark. This wolf cub, I really can't communicate with him much. He easily makes people angry. What are you bragging about? I call you brother because I think highly of you. The white-eyed wolf snorted coldly. His eyes turned slightly, and he bared his teeth. Since you are so unwilling, I will just call you Little Yang from now on. Get lost. Mu Tianyang gritted his teeth in anger. Little Yangzi? Why not Little Musy? What an immoral thing. Enough. Isn't it just a name? Why are you so serious? The demon ancestor comforted Mu Tianyang. Wasn't he looking for trouble by being serious with this wolf cub? Actually, killing these people of the Death God army and depriving them of their ultimate profound is only secondary. The main thing is to weaken the strength of the entire Death God army. If we can wipe out the 10th team this time, there will naturally be less of a threat in the future. Qin Feiyang looked at Mu Tianyang and smiled. Mu Tianyang stared at the white-eyed wolf, then looked at Qin Feiyang and nodded. This reason is more like it. However, Dong Yuming has the origin force. It won't be easy to get rid of him. As long as we can eliminate the members of the 10th team, it doesn't matter whether Dong Yuming is dead or not. Qin Feiyang smiled. All right, then think of a way to lure Dong Yuming away. Leave the rest to us. Mu Tianyang took a deep breath. Having the strongest fighting soul wasn't a good thing. Without grasping the will of heaven, they would have to face the Death God army head-on. If not for the fact that they were all veterans, how would they have the courage to face such a terrifying Death God army? It won't be easy to lure Dong Yuming away. After all, he's not stupid. If you really can't do it, Don't force yourself. The demon ancestor reminded. I know. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. You guys hide first? All right. The group of people nodded and immediately disappeared into the sea below. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he activated the 3,000 clones again. Activate the concealment technique and hide. Understood. The 3,000 incarnations nodded and activated their concealment arts, instantly disappearing without a trace. Qin Feiyang looked at the void in front and soon felt a powerful aura rolling over. He immediately activated the concealment technique and hid in the void. Not long later, Dong Yuming led more than 8,000 members of the Death God army and flew over. We've completely lost track of their whereabouts. Commander, what do we do now? An old man glanced at the void and frowned at Dong Yuming. Dong Yuming's face was gloomy and he snorted. Their strength isn't that great, but their escaping skills are top-notch. Hearing this, the members of the Death God army couldn't help but smile bitterly. Putting aside Madman Emo and the Golden-Winged Wolf King, Qin Feiyang's strength was obvious to all. How could he say that they weren't that great? If it weren't for Dong Yuming's identity, they would have snorted. The only place they can go now is the 4 great continents, because they can't enter the Central Dynasty at all. Since we can't catch up now, we'll go to the 4 great continents to find them. I don't believe that they can disappear from the world. Dong Yuming waved his hand, and the origin energy disappeared in his body. He then led the group away. Do it. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's voice was filled with strong killing intent. Boom. The next moment, terrifying auras erupted one after another. Qin Feiyang's 3,000 clones appeared in the void at the same time. In an instant, more than 20,000 ultimate attacks appeared and crazily attacked the group. What? He actually dares to ambush us here? The group's expression suddenly changed. This person is too bold. In the face of the powerful origin energy, he still dared to do such a counterattack? It was completely unexpected. This person really can't be looked at with ordinary eyes. Chapter 44:15. All of you, get out of the way. Dong Yuming was also shocked and hurriedly roared. The Death God army of more than 8,000 people immediately turned around and fled. Clang! Accompanied by a loud ear-piercing sound, the 3-foot-long sword formed by the origin energy appeared. It was mighty and actually blocked all the ultimate ultimacies. Rumble! The collision of the ultimate ultimacies and the 3-foot-long sword caused a destructive wave to erupt. Although the Death God army of more than 8,000 people escaped in time, they were still affected. All of them were in a complete mess, and blood flowed from their bodies. Looking at this scene, Dong Yuming clenched his fists, and his face was frighteningly gloomy. If it weren't for the power of Source, Qin Feiyang's counterattack this time might have caused them to be completely annihilated. Smart mind, terrifying means. Furthermore, he had the guts and courage to counterattack even in the face of the Death God army. All of these made one's scalp tingle. If this person was not eliminated now, he would be a greater threat in the future. Boom! Killing intent surged in Dong Yuming's eyes. The 3-foot-long sword in his hand burst out with dazzling 5-colored divine light. Streaks of terrifying light swept across the world. Qin Feiyang's more than 20,000 ultimate ultimacies actually all collapsed in an instant. Little bastard, even if I have to go to heaven or hell today, I will kill you and destroy your soul. You won't even have the chance to reincarnate. He roared and did not activate the ultimate ultimacy. He directly held the 3-foot-long sword and charged toward Qin Feiyang. Because of the origin energy, there was no need to activate the ultimate ultimacy. The power of the origin source could crush everything. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. Looking at the 3,000 clones, he said to himself, "Run." Whoosh! At that moment, the 3,000 clones activated the instant time and dual heaven Dao wills and fled in all directions. Qin Feiyang was also mixed in with the 3,000 clones. Because the 3,000 clones, regardless of height or appearance, were exactly the same as him. As long as he did not utter a word and mixed in with the 3,000 clones, no one would know who was his real body. Trying to escape again? But now, Madman Emo and Golden Wing Wolf King aren't here, and Qin Feiyang himself hasn't spoken either. With so many clones, which one is his real body? The members of the Death God army gathered in the distance looked at Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 clones in surprise. As expected, for a moment, they couldn't tell which one was Qin Feiyang's true body. Who cares which one of them is the real body? Kill them all. Dong Yuming sneered. With a slash of his sword, more than a dozen incarnations were annihilated on the spot. Following closely, he did not stop and continued to attack the other incarnations. Dong Yuming watched as his clones were destroyed one after another, only to discover that none of them were Qin Feiyang's true body. Dong Yuming gradually started to feel a little restless. As for the members of the Death God army, they did not dare to help. First, the 3-foot-long sword formed from the power of the origin was too powerful. It would affect them as well. Secondly, they did not have the power of origin, so they were no match for Qin Feiyang. Most importantly, right now, they did not dare to activate the ultimate profound, because once the ultimate profound was activated, Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 clones would immediately activate the Eye of Heaven. Their strongest method was the ultimate profound. Now that they did not even dare to activate the ultimate profound, they naturally did not have the courage to help. Chasing after the 3,000 incarnations made the restless Dong Yuming not realize that he was getting further and further away from the members of the Death God army. Let's quickly follow. Let's see if we can find an opportunity to help the commander. Moreover, Madman Emo and Golden-Winged Wolf King did not appear. Perhaps there is a conspiracy. A middle-aged man from the Death God army said. Everyone nodded. But at this time, the sea below set off huge waves that covered the sky. Accompanied by 2 terrifying auras, 2 figures soared high into the sky. More than 8,000 people were shocked as they looked down. If it was not the madman and the white-eyed wolf, who else could it be? You guys are quite smart. We do have a conspiracy. But this conspiracy is not targeted at Dong Yuming, but at you guys. The madman laughed. The power of all evil surged, as if it was the incarnation of evil, causing people to be unable to help but feel terrified. Targeting us? With just the 2 of you? Don't tell me you guys think you are Qin Feiyang. Grasping 3,000 incarnations, the law of life and death, the Eye of Heaven, and dual will of heaven. You guys are overestimating yourselves. With the strength of our 10th team, killing you 2 trash is as easy as killing a dog. The 8,000 people of the Death God army sneered. These were the stupidest people they had ever seen. Facing more than 8,000 people, not only did they not run for their lives, but they actually took the initiative to send themselves to death. Since they wanted to die so much, they would fulfill their wish. Killing you guys, I believe Qin Feiyang will definitely be in pain. Trash, go to hell. The group of people laughed contemptuously as they prepared to activate their ultimate profound. If they really activated their ultimate profound, the white-eyed wolf and the madman would definitely be doomed. After all, more than 8,000 people meant that there were more than 48,000 ultimate profound meanings, and they all contained the will of heaven. This was also the reason why these people were so confident. However, the madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at this scene without any panic. They were very calm. There was even a hint of mockery at the corner of their mouths. Who is the one overestimating themselves? Who is the stupid one? Who is the real trash? Let's wait and see. Swoosh! Just as the group's ultimate profound was about to take shape, another 3 figures swept out from the sea below. That's right. It was Lin Yi, the demon ancestor, and Mu Tianyang. The Eye of Oblivion, the Eye of Despair, and the Eye of Evil were instantly activated. Some people's minds instantly went blank, and their memories were forcibly deprived. Some people also directly fell into the abyss of despair, unable to extricate themselves. The remaining people were dominated by the Eye of Evil and fell into a state of madness. Yes, at this moment, more than 8,000 people of the Death God army were all dominated by the 3 strongest battle souls. The ultimate profound that was about to take shape also collapsed on the spot. Now they, especially those who were dominated by the Eye of Despair and the Eye of Oblivion, it was equivalent to losing the consciousness of self-protection and standing there waiting to be beaten. Hurry up. They all have the will of heaven. We can't control them for long. Mu Tianyang urged. Don't worry. Even an instant is enough. The madman smiled. With a wave of his big hand, the all-evil sword appeared out of thin air, exuding a sharp edge that wasn't very terrifying. But it was more than enough to kill these people who were dominated by the 3 battle souls and couldn't activate their ultimate profound. Clang, like a divine sword unsheathed. The all-evil sword turned into a flash of light and killed in an instant. The peerless edge directly drowned the group of people. Ah! Screams also sounded. In an instant, more than 8,000 people's bodies were all shattered by the all-evil sword. Even their souls were mostly obliterated by the edge of the all-evil sword. You didn't expect that you would fall in the hands of idiots like us. The white-eyed wolf laughed loudly and leaped, not giving these people any chance to self-destruct their souls. The power of law surged out and suppressed the remnant souls of this group of people. How could this be? What exactly happened just now? The group of people was terrified to the extreme. They thought that they could easily kill these 2 people, but they didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, they would become prisoners of the other party. The biggest mistake you have made is that you only have Qin Feiyang in your eyes, the madman, the white-eyed wolf, thus ignoring our existence. Our eye of evil, eye of despair, and eye of oblivion are not to be trifled with. Mu Tianyang looked at the group of people and sneered. Eye of despair, eye of oblivion, eye of evil. The group of people trembled. They had heard of the eye of despair and eye of evil, but they didn't expect that even the eye of oblivion had evolved. As expected, the real idiots were them. They even ignored these few strongest fighting souls. In the blink of an eye, Dong Yuming, who was chasing after Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 incarnations, felt the aura of the all-evil sword and immediately stopped, turning his head to look at the void behind him. Therefore, he saw with his own eyes that the all-evil sword killed more than 8,000 people. And he also saw with his own eyes that the white-eyed wolf suppressed more than 8,000 people's souls. This scene caused him to almost go mad. He had never expected that Qin Feiyang and the others' targets were actually the members under his command. If he still didn't understand by now, then he would be hopelessly stupid. This was obviously a trap set by Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang took action and lured him away. Madman Emo, the golden-winged wolf king, and the demon ancestor took the opportunity to attack his subordinates. What a good plan. At this moment, Qin Feiyang finally stood up and looked at Dong Yuming with a smile. You even forgot about the safety of your subordinates. It seems that you really want to kill me. Dong Yuming clenched his fists and turned to stare at Qin Feiyang. If his eyes could kill, at this moment, his eyes would definitely have turned Qin Feiyang into ashes. But don't be angry, because even if it was someone like Dong Qingyuan, he wouldn't have thought that we would dare to do this. After all, in our current situation, most people would choose to run for their lives. Who would dare to set a trap and scheme against you? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Hearing this, Dong Yuming was both angry and scared. What kind of monsters were they? They were already in a life-and-death situation, but they could still do something so unexpected. Was this the opponent that the Central Dynasty was about to face? End of chapter. Frenzy asked curiously, Brother Wolf, do the wings on your back have any other uses other than increasing your speed? What? Wolf immediately looked at Madman warily. I'm not going to steal your wings. Why are you looking at me like I'm a thief? Madman glared at him angrily. Wolf laughed and shook his head. These wings have no other use but to increase my speed. You've seen it yourself. This is something you can't be envious of. Who's envious? Madman pursed his lips. But to be honest, he was a little envious. Because Wolf's wings could increase his instant time speed. Moreover, it could be fused with the real instant time. In other words, he could activate his instant times and wings at the same time. Although this speed couldn't be compared to Qin Feiyang's dual will of the heavens, it was basically an unsurpassable existence for others. Qindage, there's something I need to report to you. At this moment, Fire Lotus's voice sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind. What's the matter? Qin Feiyong was slightly taken aback. Did you not persuade your sister-in-law to accept the inheritance of the laws of light and darkness? It's not about that. Sister-in-law has already accepted the inheritance of the laws of light and darkness. Fire Lotus said. Then what's the matter? Qin Feiyong was suspicious. Fire Lotus said, Long Chun received a piece of news when he robbed the members of the Death God Army. News? Qin Feiyong was surprised. Yes. Everyone who came this time left their divine souls in the central dynasty in advance. Fire Lotus said. What? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. That was really unexpected. What's wrong? Frenzy and White-Eyed Wolf saw Qin Feiyong's abnormality and couldn't help but ask. Qin Feiyong said, Fire Lotus said that the members of the Death God Army all left their divine souls in the central dynasty. No way. They are members of the Death God Army. Why would they do such a thing? The two were stunned. They thought that they could destroy a small team, but they didn't expect that not a single one of them died. Whoosh! Qin Feiyong took a deep breath and calmed down. Actually, it doesn't matter if you think about it. Anyway, these people have already been robbed of their ultimate divine souls. Even if they are still alive, they can't do anything. Frenzy was slightly taken aback and nodded. That makes sense. Being robbed of their ultimate divine souls was equivalent to being crippled. In fact, it was equivalent to being wiped out. Speaking of which, the 1,000 people who died in our hands at the beginning were really lucky. Although they died the earliest, at least they kept their ultimate divine souls. White-Eyed Wolf bared his teeth. Indeed, Qin Feiyong and Frenzy both nodded. The 1,000 people who died at the beginning could be considered a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, they would have been robbed of their ultimate divine souls. The 10th team of the Death God Army had 10,000 members. Now, there are only 1,000 left. This is good news for us. Next, are we going to continue to the Central Dynasty? White-Eyed Wolf asked. Of course. However, whether we can succeed or not will depend on our luck. Qin Feiyong whispered and asked, Fire Lotus, did the members of the Death God Army lose their ultimate divine souls? Yes. Fire Lotus replied. So fast? Qin Feiyong was surprised. It had only been an hour. An hour outside is many years in the Black Tortoise world. Fire Lotus smiled. Did Long Chen say anything? Qin Feiyong asked with a smile. No. Fire Lotus replied. That's good. Since their ultimate divine souls have been robbed, there's no need to keep them alive. Let's get rid of them. Qin Feiyong said. Okay. Fire Lotus replied and headed to the soul-sealing valley. Let's continue. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and swept up Frenzy and White-Eyed Wolf. He then activated 2 wills of the Great Path and headed deeper into the ocean. Do we still need to activate 2 wills of the Great Path? White-Eyed Wolf frowned. Of course. We have to reach the entrance of the Central Dynasty before Dong Yumming. Otherwise, with him blocking the way, it will be harder for us to get in. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed. Although Dong Yumming had grasped 8 ultimate divine souls, it was nothing in front of them. However, they had to be wary of the origin energy in his hands. Actually, I'm not that worried about Dong Yumming. I'm most worried about the sea beasts in the taboo ocean. If these sea beasts continue to report to the Central Dynasty, the chances of us entering the Central Dynasty will be even lower. Frenzy frowned. This kind of thing can't be avoided. We can't kill all the sea beasts in the taboo ocean, right? Moreover, we don't have the energy or time. Let's just take it one step at a time. Qin Feiyong shook his head and sighed. Several days later, after traveling at lightning speed, a floating island appeared in the sky of the sea region ahead. Qin Feiyong and company stopped and looked up at the island. This island in the void was not big, only about a few miles in size. One could clearly see the towering trees on the island, and it was lush green. Look below. White-Eyed Wolf suddenly pointed below the island. Qin Feiyong and Frenzy looked down and saw a stone door standing on the sea below the island. This stone door was several hundred feet tall and was completely black. It gave off an ancient aura. Could this be the entrance to the Central Dynasty? Frenzy was surprised. It's possible. Qin Feiyong nodded. This was because there was a stone door standing on the surface of the sea. No matter how one looked at it, it was a little out of place. Then what's the use of the floating island? White-eyed Wolf looked up at the floating island with suspicion in his eyes. Frenzy thought for a while before a cold light flashed in his eyes. There can't be someone hiding on the island, right? Why don't we go up and take a look? Qin Feiyong stepped out and headed straight for the floating island. Halt, intruder. But at this moment, the voice of an old man rang out. It came from the floating island in the sky. There really is someone. Qin Feiyong and the other two exchanged glances. Without any hesitation, they continued flying towards the floating island. With their current strength, as long as it wasn't the Lord of the Divine Kingdom, they weren't afraid. Boom. The existence on the island seemed to be a bit angry. A terrifying aura exploded and turned into an invisible wave that rolled toward Qin Feiyong and company. You overestimate yourselves. Frenzy snorted coldly. His aura roared and collided with that aura. Poof. However, Frenzy spat out a mouthful of blood. That aura is stronger than mine? It seems that the other party has mastered at least 7 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. Frenzy wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at White-Eyed Wolf. Boom. In the next moment, White-Eyed Wolf's aura also exploded. The aura of the two joined forces and blasted toward the floating island. End of chapter. Chapter 44:17. The White-Eyed Wolf and the Madman both grasped the ultimate meaning of the 6 strongest laws. Facing the joint attack of the two, the other party was naturally no match for them and easily crushed them. Humph! The existence on the island also let out a muffled sound. Obviously, it also suffered some injuries. You actually dare to stop us? You're courting death. The Madman chuckled, just as the three were about to step into the floating island. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura surged out. Following closely, a light screen appeared at the edge of the island. This light screen was multicolored and dazzling to the eyes. Looking at this light screen, Qin Feiyong and the other two retreated like they were facing a great enemy. Their expressions were filled with fear. Looking at the entire Divine Kingdom, the only thing that could make them so terrified was the origin source. That's right. The barrier that appeared at the edge of the island was formed by the origin source of the Divine Kingdom. There's origin source. It seems that this place is really the entrance to the Central Dynasty. The Madman glanced at the island and then stared at the stone gate below. His eyes flickered. That's right. This is the entrance to the Central Dynasty. But don't even think about stepping into the Central Dynasty. Accompanied by a hoarse voice, an old man with blood-red hair walked out from the floating island. Standing behind the barrier, he looked down at Qin Feiyong and the other two. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked up. The blood-haired old man gave them a cold feeling, like a ruthless death god. Old thing, you're the one guarding the entrance? The Madman asked. Are young people nowadays so rude? The blood-haired old man's eyes turned cold. So rude? What do you mean? Could it be that there are other young people coming here? The Madman was surprised. It couldn't be that mysterious young man, right? The blood-haired old man didn't answer and said coldly, if you know what's good for you, scram immediately, otherwise what? The Madman chuckled. Qin Feiyong and the White-Eyed Wolf also pursed their lips into a smile. Was he trying to threaten them? Young man, don't be too arrogant. This old man knows your origins. Qin Feiyong, Madmanimo, Golden-Winged Wolf King. However, there is a barrier formed by the origin energy here. Can you break in? The blood-red, clothed old man sneered. Who are you looking down on? Madman was furious. All kinds of ultimate profound meanings were activated. Together with the power to destroy the heaven and earth, they attacked the stone gate below the island. Boom! A barrier also appeared on the stone door. It was also colorful and emitted an astonishing aura. Clearly, it was formed from the origin energy. The various ultimate mysteries struck the barrier. However, they did not even cause the slightest ripple. The Madman's eyes darkened, and he activated his power of law. It turned into a huge wave that smashed into the void on both sides of the stone door. But no matter where he attacked, there was a barrier formed by the origin energy. Don't waste your energy. The entire Central Dynasty is under the protection of the origin power. You can think of it as the Central Dynasty being an iron bucket. Without this old man's permission, no one can step into the Central Dynasty. The blood-haired old man looked down at the three with a sneer on his face. Madman frowned and was about to attack again. Qin Feiyong stopped the madman and shook his head. If the entire Central Dynasty is really under the protection of the origin energy, then we can't break in with our strength.
Yes.
In comparison, Qin Feiyong is more rational. The blood-haired old man nodded. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and looked up at the blood-haired old man. He mocked, however. Is it true that no one can enter the Central Dynasty? If I'm not wrong, my ancestor, Qin Batian, should be in the Central Dynasty right now. He was only probing with these words. He really wanted to know if the mysterious young man had entered the Central Dynasty or not. Hearing Qin Feiyong's words, the blood-haired old man clenched his fists and a trace of anger could be seen on his face. These abnormal changes were all clearly captured by Qin Feiyong. He sighed inwardly. Senior martial brother, you ingrate. It looks like we can only stand here and watch. Because the blood-haired old man's reaction was enough to prove that the mysterious young man had entered the Central Dynasty. Why didn't he call us? The madman was a bit annoyed. Without the mysterious young man's origin energy, they couldn't break the barrier at all. Doesn't this person always do things alone? White-eyed Wolf shook his head helplessly. To be honest, sometimes he was quite envious of the young man. No matter where it was, he would go whenever he wanted to, just like a wild crane that was free to roam. Most importantly, no matter how terrifying the place was, no one could stop him. Give up while it's still early. The blood-haired old man sneered and turned to leave. It seemed that he was very confident in the barrier here. What a cocky old man. The madman was very unhappy. Suddenly, he rolled his eyes and said playfully, "Don't you want to know the situation of the Death God Legion's 10th team? You guys met them?" The blood-haired old man paused and turned to ask the madman. Not only did we meet them, but we also fought them. The madman bared his teeth. Fought them? The blood-haired old man was shocked. How did he manage to come to the Central Dynasty unscathed after fighting the 10th squad? You're surprised, right? Because you must have thought that if we met them, we would have been in a sorry state. But now, we appeared in front of you without any injuries. The madman laughed, and the playful look on his face became even stronger. The blood-haired old man was silent, but his face was extremely gloomy. I'm sorry that it didn't go as you wished. In this encounter, not only did they fail to kill us, they were completely annihilated. The madman laughed wildly. What? The blood-haired old man's eyes trembled. Wiped out? How was that possible? This time, the entire 10th team went. Including the commander, there were a total of 10,001 people. Furthermore, at that time, when Dong Yuming had passed by this place, he had personally told him that he had a strand of source energy. Such a lineup was actually completely annihilated by these three people. If that was true, then it was too exaggerated. You're surprised by this? Then if this daddy told you that I robbed them of their ultimate meaning, wouldn't you be unable to stand still? The madman laughed. Being arrogant in front of this daddy? Do you have the strength and capital to do so? You're just relying on your origin force. If you have the ability, then come out from behind the barrier and see how this daddy will kill you. Rob them of their ultimate meaning, as expected. Hearing the madman's words, the blood-haired old man trembled. Death wasn't scary, because these people from the Death God Legion had left their divine souls in the Central Dynasty. But robbing them of their ultimate meaning was worse than death. Impossible. Dong Yuming has his origin force. No matter how strong you are, you can't compete with his origin force. You're trying to anger this old man. Let this old man come out and fight with you. Don't be so naive. This old man isn't that stupid. The blood-haired old man shook his head. Ha ha. The madman laughed and mocked. You really think too highly of yourself. You don't believe me, right? Don't worry, Dong Yuming will be back soon. At that time, he will tell you whether this is true or not. Dong Yuming isn't dead? The blood-haired old man was surprised. He's indeed not dead. But now, I'm afraid he's in a pain worse than death. After all, we kidnapped more than 8,000 members of the Death God Legion, right under his nose. The madman laughed. Looking at the blood-haired old man's face that kept changing, his heart was filled with joy. More than 8,000 members. Could it be that this matter is true? The blood-haired old man muttered. He really didn't dare to believe this fact. If even the entire 10th squad of the Death God Army, together with the Origin Energy, could not do anything to these people, then who else could? Could it be? Were they really going to mobilize the entire Death God Legion? One had to know. In the history of the Divine Kingdom, not to mention the entire Death God Legion, even a small team was something that had never happened before. Why don't we have a talk? The madman's eyes flashed as he looked at the blood-haired old man and said, "Talk about what?" The blood-haired old man frowned. The madman smiled and said, "Let us enter the Central Dynasty, and we'll give you a good fortune." "Let you enter the Central Dynasty?" The blood-haired old man laughed angrily and said, "Do you think this old man is stupid? If these people were to enter the Central Dynasty, wouldn't they stir up chaos in the Central Dynasty? Don't be in a hurry to refuse. The good fortune that we'll give you is very tempting." The madman laughed. "Ha ha." When the blood-haired old man heard this, he couldn't help but laugh hoarsely. As an important figure in the Central Dynasty who also controlled the will of heaven, he had everything he wanted, even the inheritance of the ultimate profound. As long as he asked the emperor would give it to him without hesitation. Now, this person actually said that he would give him a good fortune? What a shameless boast. Don't be in a hurry to laugh. The Gate of Potential, you should know about it. The madman raised the corner of his mouth slightly. The Gate of Potential? The blood-haired old man was stunned and said with a frown, "Aren't you talking nonsense? Who in the world doesn't know about the Gate of Potential?" "Yes. As long as you're human, you will know about the Gate of Potential. But how many people in the world have opened the Gate of Potential? It just so happens that we have a way to open the Gate of Potential in our hands." The madman laughed. "What?" The blood-haired old man was surprised. "A way to open the Gate of Potential? You must be kidding." Chapter 44:18. Do you know why we're so outstanding? Do you know why old Sheen was able to comprehend the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death? Actually, it's because we've already opened the Gate of Potential, and it's the Gate of Potential. Madman laughed loudly, his expression filled with arrogance. "Impossible." The blood-haired old man shook his head. "Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? That easy to fool? You don't believe me?" Madman bared his teeth and took off his clothes, revealing his sturdy chest. The potential mark on his chest appeared in front of the blood-haired old man's eyes. "This is really a potential mark." The blood-haired old man stared at the potential mark on Madman's body with disbelief. This couldn't have been painted on, right? The ingrate also grinned and tore open the clothes on his chest, revealing the potential imprint. There's actually a potential mark." The blood-haired old man's eyes trembled. Madman smiled and said, "If you suspect that we drew it, you can come over and wipe it to see if it can be erased." At this moment, Madman's words seemed to have a magical power. When the blood-haired old man heard this, he walked over to the barrier and took out a token. The command medallion was the size of an adult's palm. It was multicolored and contained a trace of origin energy. Looking at this token, Qin Feiyang and the other two's eyes lit up. Without a doubt, this token must be the key to opening the barrier. In other words, as long as they could obtain this token, they could freely enter and exit the Central Dynasty. "Yes, quickly come out." Madman laughed. As long as the blood-haired old man stepped out of the barrier, the token would be theirs. Seeing the blood-haired old man grabbing the token and preparing to open the barrier, he suddenly came back to his senses. Looking at the token in his hand, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He had almost ruined everything. It could only be said that the charm of the potential mark was too great. "Damn you." Madman looked at this scene and almost went berserk. "Who?" The blood-haired old man took a deep breath and calmed the lingering fear in his heart. He put away the token in his hand and sneered. What a few cunning little foxes. I almost fell for your trick. Fooled? Do you really think that these potential imprints were drawn by us? Madman sneered. So what if it's true? This old man has mastered 9 supreme laws. I don't care at all. As for the law of life and death, aside from Qin Feiyang, have any of you comprehended it? I don't think so. Doesn't this mean that even if you open all the doors of potential, you might not necessarily be able to comprehend the law of life and death? The blood-haired old man looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf and sneered. Then he turned and left. This old fart is really stubborn. Madman was a bit annoyed. He could even resist the temptation of the gate of potential. It seemed that he had underestimated this person's mentality. From beginning to end, Qin Feiyang didn't say anything. Because he had long expected that Madman's method wouldn't work, he had been thinking of other methods. Suddenly, his expression froze. It was as if he had overlooked someone. This person was Lin. In the past, it was indeed difficult to enter the Central Dynasty, but it was different now. Now, Lin-Yi's battle soul had evolved. Even if the other party had mastered the will of heavenly Tao, she could forcibly deprive a moment of memory. A moment of effort was enough for them to control the blood-haired old man, open the barrier, and enter the Central Dynasty. I remember your eyes of oblivion. Not only can you deprive others of their memory, but you can also control others. Qin Feiyang immediately transmitted his voice to Lin Yi in the Black Tortoise world. Yes, after depriving the memory, the other party's mind will be blank. Taking advantage of this blank opportunity, I can control the other party. Lin Yi responded. Okay, get ready. I need your help. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. He quickly looked at the blood-haired old man who turned and left and shouted, Wait! The madman and the white-eyed wolf were taken aback and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. What is this kid trying to do? The blood-haired old man frowned, turned to look at Qin Feiyang and sneered, Don't waste your time. This old man will not betray the divine kingdom for the gate of potential. Don't worry. I have prepared a gift for you. Qin Feiyang opened his mouth and smiled. As his voice fell, Lin Yi appeared. Moreover, she had activated the Eyes of Oblivion in advance. Therefore, with her appearance, the Eyes of Oblivion directly locked onto the blood-haired old man. The blood-haired old man's mind went blank in an instant, and he stood there sluggishly. The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. Yes, Lin Yi's Eyes of Oblivion had evolved. She could forcibly deprive the other party of their memory. Although there was a barrier between them and the blood-haired old man, the Eyes of Oblivion would work as long as the gaze locked onto the other party. Why didn't I think of this before? How stupid. Lin Yi looked at the blood-haired old man and said, I am your master, and you are my servant. Open the barrier for me now. This was equivalent to fabricating another memory in the blood-haired old man's blank memory. Although these memories were fake, the blood-haired old man would believe it without the original memory. Yes. The blood-haired old man responded respectfully, took out the token again, and pressed it on the barrier. Buzz. Immediately, the barrier bloomed with dazzling divine light. Immediately after, the barrier cracked quickly. But at this moment, there was a hint of struggle in the blood-haired old man's face. Not good. He is about to break free from the control of the Eyes of Oblivion. Quickly grab the token. The madman shouted. There was no need for the madman to say this. Looking at the blood-haired old man's struggle, Qin Feiyang immediately activated the dual will of heavenly Tao and momentary time. He instantly landed in front of the barrier, stretched out his big hand from the crack, and grabbed the token. It was at this moment. The blood-haired old man completely woke up. Looking at the cracked barrier, looking at Qin Feiyang in front of him, and seeing that Qin Feiyang had already grabbed the token, his face changed drastically, and he quickly blasted a punch. Even if this token was destroyed, it couldn't fall into the hands of Qin Feiyang. Sorry, the owner of this token is already me. Qin Feiyang firmly grasped the token. Not only did he not retreat, but he also stepped into the floating island through the crack and landed in front of the blood-haired old man. Damn it! Return the divine kingdom token to me. The blood-haired old man roared. The 9 ultimate mysteries were activated, crazily pouncing on Qin Feiyang. Not bad. And the ultimate mysteries of the law of light and darkness. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Before this old man was arrogant, he didn't retreat, because there was a barrier between them. But now, he had already crossed the barrier and entered the floating island. He had already entered the floating island, and the old man still dared to attack him? Wasn't this courting death? Boom. The ultimate mysteries of the law of life and death, the ultimate mysteries of the 6 ultimate laws were activated at the same time. The dual will of heavenly Tao erupted, directly crushing over. Immediately. Accompanied by a scream, the blood-haired old man's body shattered on the spot, and blood splattered in the sky. I can't die. I must immediately inform the Emperor about the token being stolen. The blood-haired old man's soul roared in his heart, turned around, and began to flee frantically. His face was full of anxiety. Escape? At this time, Frenzy, White-Eyed Wolf, and Lin Yi also rushed into the floating island. Frenzy smiled ferociously. Activating moment of time, he instantly caught up with the blood-haired old man and slapped him. It turned out that the blood-haired old man's soul was still intact, but with Frenzy's slap, it immediately turned into a remnant soul. You deserve to die 1,000 times. The blood-haired old man roared. We deserve to die 1,000 times? Are you King talking in your sleep? Frenzy slapped again. With a wail, the remnant soul dissipated, leaving behind only a wisp of soul. Don't torture him, lest he self-destructs his soul. We still need his law of light and darkness. Moreover, with him here, he definitely won't be like the members of the Death God Legion, leaving behind their souls in advance to save their lives. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The floating island was protected by the barrier of the origin power. No place was safer than here, so no matter who it was, they would definitely not split their soul in advance to save their lives. Yes, the law of light and darkness can't be wasted. Frenzy slapped his head and immediately suppressed the last wisp of the blood-haired old man's soul. Qin Feiyang looked at the token in his hand with a smile on his face. He turned to look at Lin Yi next to him and smiled. Girl, you have made a great contribution this time. Tell me, what reward do you want? I will give it to you. Frenzy and White-Eyed Wolf also looked at Lin Yi with a smile. Without Lin Yi's eyes of oblivion, they would never have the chance to grab this token, let alone enter the central dynasty. I don't lack anything now. What reward do I want? Lin Yi shook her head and laughed. If it were in the past, she might ask for the ultimate esoteric inheritance or the elixir to open the door of potential. But now, the door of potential had already been opened. The ultimate esoteric inheritance, Qin Feiyang had already given it to her. She really couldn't think of anything else she wanted. Okay, I'll record this credit for you here first. Wait a minute. Doesn't this person master the ultimate esoteric of the law of light and darkness? Or, this ultimate esoteric of the law of light and darkness is your reward. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Lin Yi was taken aback slightly and hesitated. Why don't you give it to Mu Tianyang first because they want it more than me? Little girl, are you stupid? They are always outsiders. How can you give it to them first? White-Eyed Wolf glared at Lin Yi. After this little lass lost her memories, she had become a little too naive, hadn't she? It's decided. This ultimate esoteric of the law of light and darkness is yours. You take this person's soul to the Black Tortoise world and let Long Chan help to extract it. Let me tell you, if you dare to give it to Mu Tianyang in private, I will not spare you. White-Eyed Wolf said, Okay. Lin Yi nodded repeatedly and took the blood-haired old man's remnant soul from Frenzy. Then, Lin Yi was sent to the Black Tortoise world by Qin Feiyang. End of this chapter. Chapter 44:19. The Divine Kingdom Token. The madman stretched out his hand and bared his teeth. Let me have a look. Qin Feiyang threw it to the madman. The madman grabbed the Divine Kingdom Token and carefully observed it for a moment before nodding. It wasn't an illusion. It contains the aura of origin power. In other words, This divine kingdom token might have been tempered by the origin power? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. Most likely. The madman nodded. The white-eyed wolf's eyes were filled with curiosity. He stretched out his hand and said, "Let me have a look. I'll see if I can crush it." If it was really tempered by the origin power, this divine kingdom token would definitely be as hard as the divine kingdom gate. Are you kidding me? The madman rolled his eyes when he heard this. He even specially came to see if he could crush the divine kingdom token? Was there something wrong with his brain? What if it really did break? Qin Feiyong was also speechless. This damn wolf cub really dared to think of anything. Let's see if there are any treasures on this floating island. If there aren't, let's quickly enter the Central Dynasty. The madman released his divine sense and instantly enveloped the entire island. The full appearance of the island immediately appeared in front of them. This island was indeed not big, but the vegetation was very dense. There were no other creatures on the island. It was dead silent. However, in the center of the island, there was a 100-meter-tall mountain. At the foot of the mountain, the madman saw a cave abode. However, the cave abode was also empty. They could only feel the aura of a time array. In short, after searching the entire island, they didn't find any rare treasures. It seems that this island is purely that old man's cultivation place. It's just a place of cultivation, yet it's protected by a barrier of source energy. How extravagant! The madman pouted. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. The barrier here isn't protecting the island, but the old man's personal safety. After all, it's still very risky for him to guard this place. Speaking of this old man, we can't kill him yet, right? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Why? Madman was suspicious. The white-eyed wolf said, "If we kill this old man, won't Dong Yuming be able to guess that we have already entered the Central Dynasty when he returns and sees that the old man is gone?" Qin Feiyong chuckled. "You're not expecting us to sneak into the Central Dynasty, are you? In any case, no one will see this old man fall into our hands. As long as we keep him here, who will know that we've already entered the Central Dynasty?" The white-eyed wolf sneered. "Naive. Look at the sea below," Qin Feiyong said. The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback. He looked around and his expression froze. It turned out that there were already many sea beasts lurking in the water, staring at them. In other words, everything they had done had been seen by the sea beasts. Sigh. Looks like I was too naive. It's impossible to sneak into the Central Dynasty without anyone noticing. White-eyed wolf could not help but shake his head and sigh. Let's go. Enter the Central Dynasty. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Central Dynasty people will react when they know that we have broken in. The corner of Qin Feiyong's mouth lifted. He took the Divine Kingdom token from Madman's hand and stepped onto the edge of the island. He activated the barrier, and the three of them jumped down and landed in front of the stone door. The stone gate was as tall as a mountain. Qin Feiyong and the other two stood below the stone gate and could not help but feel small. The mad scientist said, "With the Divine Kingdom token, we don't have to specially enter through this stone gate. We can enter from other places." Logically speaking, that should be the case. Qin Feiyong nodded and pressed the Divine Kingdom token into the space between the stone gate. Buzz. A 5-colored light screen appeared out of nowhere. The mad scientist and the white-eyed wolf were looking forward to it. They were about to enter the Central Dynasty and were somewhat excited. However, as time passed, the light screen between the stone gates did not break. What's going on? Why can't it open? Qin Feiyong and the other two were confused. If the barrier of the island above could be opened, why couldn't the stone gate to the Central Dynasty? Could it be that the Divine Kingdom token can only open the barrier of the island above? The mad scientist was surprised. Hearing this, Qin Feiyong and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. If that was the case, wouldn't they have done all this for nothing? I don't believe it. The white-eyed wolf took the Divine Kingdom token from Qin Feiyong and ran to the two sides of the stone gate and pressed the Divine Kingdom token into the air. A 5-colored light screen also appeared in the air. However, just like the stone gate, the 5-colored light screen did not show any signs of opening. What's going on? The three frowned. The stone gate could not be opened. The five-colored light screen on the two sides of the stone gate could not be opened either. Could it be that the Divine Kingdom token could only open the barrier of the island above? Wait. Qin Feiyong suddenly seemed to notice something and looked up at the top of the stone gate. In the center of the doorframe above, there was a palm-sized groove. A groove? Qin Feiyong observed carefully and found that the shape and size of the groove were similar to the Divine Kingdom token. Could it be that I have to insert the Divine Kingdom token into the groove to open the door? Thinking of this, Qin Feiyong hurriedly looked at the white-eyed wolf and urged, "Give me the Divine Kingdom token." The white-eyed wolf ran over and threw the Divine Kingdom token to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong grabbed the Divine Kingdom token and jumped into the air. He landed in front of the door frame above and gently inserted the Divine Kingdom token into the groove. Sure enough, the size matched perfectly. As the Divine Kingdom token entered the groove, it immediately emitted a dazzling light. Then, the colorful light between the stone gate slowly dissipated. So the mechanism is here. The madman and the white-eyed wolf suddenly understood. The Divine Kingdom token was equivalent to a key, and the groove was equivalent to a keyhole. They needed to be combined to open the door. "You guys go in first," Qin Feiyong said. The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and stepped through the stone gate and landed in the sky above the sea. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong also took out the Divine Kingdom token. The moment the Divine Kingdom token was taken out, the light curtain between the stone gate quickly reappeared. Qin Feiyong rushed in and landed beside the white-eyed wolf and the madman. He turned around and saw that the light curtain had completely recovered and the stone gate was sealed again. We finally entered the Central Dynasty. The air here is no different from the four great continents. The white-eyed wolf scanned the endless sea and grinned. Qin Feiyong and the madman looked at each other speechlessly. They were all on the same continent. How much difference could there be? From what they had seen so far, the biggest difference was that the energy of the crystal veins and soul veins in the Central Dynasty was stronger than in the four great continents. The madman looked up at the door and said, "Old Qin, look, there is also a groove on the door frame here. Both sides. Looks like this stone gate is really the only way between the Central Dynasty and the four great continents," Qin Feiyong whispered. Although both sides of the stone gate led to the Forbidden Ocean, the Divine Kingdom token could only open the barrier between the stone gates. So this was the only way out. Now that the old man is in our hands and there is no one else on the floating island, when Dong Yuming comes back, he won't be able to return to the Central Dynasty? The white-eyed wolf asked. No one will open the gate for him, so he won't be able to return to the Central Dynasty for now. But there must be more than one Divine Kingdom token. When the news gets out, the Emperor of the Central Dynasty will definitely send someone to guard it. Maybe then this Divine Kingdom token will lose its effect. Qin Feiyong played with the Divine Kingdom token in his hand and smiled. Lose its effect? The white-eyed wolf and the madman paused. Yeah, think about it. If it were you and someone took the key to your house, wouldn't you immediately change the key and lock? Qin Feiyong smiled. The madman was shocked. So if we come in now, we won't be able to leave the Central Dynasty in the future? That is indeed what I mean. But don't worry too much. That's because they don't know how we managed to obtain the Sacred Country Badge. The next time we need to leave the Central Dynasty, we can just grab the new Divine Kingdom token. Qin Feiyong chuckled. Yes, with Lin Yi here, what are we afraid of? Even if the other party is prepared, it will be difficult to escape the domination of the Eye of Oblivion. The madman laughed. Qin Feiyong put away the Divine Kingdom token and turned to look at the sea in front of him. Although the Emperor might change the lock and key, it was still necessary to keep this Divine Kingdom token. What if they didn't change it when the time came? Let's go. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, rolled up the madman and the white-eyed wolf, and rushed toward the sea in front without looking back. For the three of them, as long as they successfully entered the Central Dynasty, it was equivalent to a wild horse with wings. They could soar freely in the vast sky. Who are they? They are so strong. They can even easily defeat Dong Kunshan, who is guarding the entrance and has mastered the ultimate meaning of the 9 strongest laws. I heard Dong Kunshan say before that they are called Qin Feiyong, Madmanimo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King? Are they the three rumored to be doing evil in the four great continents? It might be them. They are amazing. These people are too bold. They dare to trespass into our central dynasty? Go and inform the Siren King. The sea beasts lurking in the water couldn't help but secretly communicate with each other as they watched the three leave. Although Qin Feiyong, Madman, and Madman had just entered the central dynasty, they had been fighting against the people of the central dynasty in the four great continents for many years. So, they were now famous in the central dynasty. Half a day passed. This sea is so big, above a small island. Looking at the boundless sea before them, Qin Feiyong and the other two couldn't help but stop and frown. The madman looked up at the sky and said, "The sky is also dark. Is this sea the same as the Forbidden Sea?" "Yes. I haven't tried to open a space-time passage yet." The white-eyed wolf slapped his head and waved his hand, and the law of space-time appeared. End of this chapter. Chapter 44:20. However, there was no space-time tunnel in front of them. "I can't open it." The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He took out a voice transmission stone and tried to send a message to Qin Feiyong and Madman. There was no response. "It's really the same as the taboo ocean." The white-eyed wolf was stunned. "Let me think." The inner demons and Lu Jiajin said that it would take about 3 months to reach the four great continents from the central dynasty. Although it didn't take long for us to reach the central dynasty, it seems to be because we activated 2 wills of the heavens. According to the normal speed, without activating the wills of the heavens and split time, it would take about 1.5 months to cross the taboo ocean, which is 45 days. In other words, now that we have entered the central dynasty, it would still take 1.5 months to cross this ocean. Madman frowned. "I'll go. That means we still need 45 days to truly enter the central dynasty?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. And, of course, if Old Qin activated 2 wills of the heavens and split time, it wouldn't take so long. Madman said, "Let's not talk about this first. Go capture a sea beast and read its memory to see the situation of this ocean." Qin Feiyong looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, "Okay." The white-eyed wolf nodded and leaped, disappearing into the ocean below. Boom. Splash. Soon, terrifying ripples could be felt in the sea. Huge waves also appeared on the surface of the ocean. Not long later, the white-eyed wolf grabbed a mountain-sized walrus and rushed out of the ocean. "What are you doing? This is the central dynasty, not a place where you can behave atrociously." The walrus roared angrily. Its voice was like a bell, deafening everyone's ears. "Seems like you already know our identity." Madman laughed. This walrus only had the cultivation of a perfect ruler. Even if it wasn't trash, it was easy to control. A moment later, Qin Feiyong roughly read the walrus's memory and released it. "How is it?" Madman and the white-eyed wolf asked. "This ocean is called the Kuan Peng Ocean region. The situation is indeed the same as the taboo ocean, but the strength of the beasts in the Kuan Peng Ocean is." Qin Feiyong's introduction. Far. The two were surprised. And, according to this walrus memory, the Kuan Peng Sea region is ruled by a divine beast, the Kuan Peng. Qin Feiyong said. Kuan Madman and Madman looked at each other. Of course, they knew about the divine beast Kuan Peng. The Kuan Peng could also transform into a bird. Its wings were like the clouds in the sky. Qin Feiyong and the ingrate still remembered that Luo Qingzhu and the others also had a Kuan Peng by their side. But that Kuan Peng was weak. It wasn't even an adult yet. It is said that this Kuan Peng is extremely powerful. This was the Sea Python's sacred island. On one of the mountains, there was a clean and tidy courtyard here. In the courtyard, a feminine-looking young man was sitting on a stone bench. In front of him was a round stone table with an exquisite wine pot on it. The young man was about 20 years old. He was wearing a golden robe. His eyes were long and narrow. His gaze was as sharp as a blade. There was only the young man on the entire island. This place was like a forbidden area. Lord Demon Emperor. Suddenly, a sea beast flew over in a hurry. "What? Why are you in such a hurry?" The young man in golden robe raised his head and looked at the sea beast with dissatisfaction. Lord, bad news, bad news. A subordinate reported that Qin Feiyang, Madman Imo, and the golden-winged wolf king are coming to our sacred island. The sea beast said in fear. Qin Feiyang, Madman Imo, and the golden-winged wolf king? The young man in golden robe was stunned. Suddenly, as if he thought of something, he suddenly stood up and said in surprise, "You mean Qin Feiyang, Madman Imo, and the golden-winged wolf king from the Sky Cloud domain?" "That's right. It's us." Before the sea beast could speak, a loud laughter rolled over. The young man and the sea beast were startled. They hurriedly looked up and saw three figures streaking across the sky at an incredible speed and descending on the island. That's right. It was Qin Feiyang, Madman, and the white-eyed wolf. Madman glanced at the island and locked his gaze on the sea python demon emperor. He asked curiously, "You are one of the 10 demon emperors under Kuan Pong, the sea python demon emperor?" "That's right. That's me." The young man nodded. End of chapter. Chapter 44:21. The madman looked at the young man for a moment, then looked at the sea beast next to him and laughed. "Your subordinates are quite fast at delivering information. We can't even compare to them when we activate the dual will of the heavenly path in momentary time." "You flatter me. We sea beasts are a little special. We can deliver information through the sea." The sea python demon emperor slowly put down the wine glass and looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two. Although he had heard of the three of them, it was the first time he saw them in person. He asked, "Are you really Qin Feiyang, Madman Imo, and golden-winged wolf king? How can this be fake?" In the entire divine kingdom, other than Lu Yuntian, who also has dual will of the heavenly path, who else can come to your sea lion sacred island from the entrance of the central dynasty so quickly? The white-eyed wolf sneered. The sea python demon emperor's pupils shrank and he said in surprise, "How did you enter the central dynasty?" One had to know. The entrance of the central dynasty was protected by a barrier formed by the power of origin. The only key that could open the passage was the divine kingdom token in Dong Kunshin's hand. Moreover, since the history of the divine kingdom, no one had ever been able to break into the central dynasty. Could it be Dong Kunshin had died in the hands of these people? But that was impossible. The floating island where Dong Kunshin was also protected by the barrier of the power of origin. No matter how powerful Qin Feiyang and the others were, they couldn't break this barrier. Why was that? Wait, could it be that Dong Kunshin betrayed his master and joined Qin Feiyang and the others? Your question is a little stupid. How else can we enter the central dynasty? We must have walked in openly. The white-eyed wolf laughed. "Don't joke with me. Was it Dong Kunshin who let you in?" The sea lion demon emperor said angrily. "More or less." The white-eyed wolf grinned. "This damn thing. How dare he betray our divine kingdom?" The sea lion demon emperor clenched his hands. Betrayal? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Then, a playful smile appeared on his face. He did not explain. Instead, he bared his teeth and said, "One of the 10 great fiend monarchs of the Kuanpeng Sea region. Let this big brother experience it." "You?" The sea lion demon emperor looked at the white-eyed wolf contemptuously. "Still looking down on us? Don't you know that even Dong Qingyuan, Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, and Lu Yuntian were killed by us?" The white-eyed wolf laughed mockingly. The sea lion demon emperor's eyes darkened. Of course he knew. He had long heard of these things. However, he also knew that the strongest of the three was Qin Feiyang. "Make your move." The white-eyed wolf took a step forward, and his aura surged out. The sea lion demon emperor glanced at Qin Feiyang, and his eyes flashed slightly. He stared at the white-eyed wolf and said, "I never do meaningless things." The white-eyed wolf was taken aback and asked suspiciously, "You mean to raise the stakes?" "That's right. If I lose to you, you can do whatever you want with me. But if you lose to me, please get the hell out of the central dynasty immediately." "Do you dare?" The sea lion demon emperor shouted. "So confident? All right. As long as you can defeat me, not to mention getting the hell out of the central dynasty, you can even chop off my head and kick it like a ball." The white-eyed wolf sneered. You are actually more confident than me? The sea lion demon emperor was shocked. Cut the crap, let's start. The white-eyed wolf's eyes turned cold. The 6 ultimate laws were activated, and the will of heaven erupted. Go and inform the other demon emperors. And the demon kings below, hurry and come over to support me. The sea lion demon emperor secretly instructed the sea beast next to him and activated his ultimate law. When the sea beast heard this, it looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 in fear before turning around and fleeing frantically. Are you going to find reinforcements? Seeing this, killing intent surged in Madman's eyes. He took a step forward and instantly landed in front of the sea beast, slapping it with his palm. Roar! With a shrill scream, the sea beast's blood splattered across the sky, and its body was destroyed. You guys, looking at this scene, the sea lion demon emperor was furious. He took a step into the sky and roared, "Hurry and inform the 9 demon emperors to come and support me." Roar! Immediately, loud and clear roars of beasts could be heard from the sea around them. This was a response to the sea lion demon emperor. It's not enough to inform the 9 demon emperors. It's better to let the emperor personally lead the death god army to kill us. The white-eyed wolf grinned, and the 6 ultimate laws charged toward the sea lion demon emperor. Don't worry, there will be such a day. The sea lion demon emperor smiled sinisterly. As the power of law surged out, the 8 ultimate laws appeared, and the will of heaven erupted, exuding the power of destruction. Boom! In an instant, 14 ultimate intents collided. A terrifying wave of destruction surged out in all directions. The island below was turned into ashes on the spot. Puff! The white-eyed wolf spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated continuously. 6 Dao Ultimates were no match for 8 Dao Ultimates. You dare to challenge me with this little strength? Who gave you the courage? The sea lion demon emperor laughed angrily and waved his hand. The remaining ultimate laws charged toward the white-eyed wolf. Hey! The white-eyed wolf took a step forward and stabilized his footsteps. He grinned at the sea lion demon emperor, and a golden light rushed out from his back. Following that, a pair of golden wings appeared on his back. What the hell is this? The sea lion demon emperor was stunned. Despair. As his voice fell, the white-eyed wolf spread his wings, and a golden light flickered. Whoosh! The next moment, he disappeared into the void. What? The sea lion demon emperor's expression changed drastically. This speed was too fast, wasn't it? He couldn't even catch a trace of this person. That's right. These were the white-eyed wolf's wings. His wings were equivalent to a moment of time. In addition, he activated the moment of time. The 2 overlapped and his speed skyrocketed. In other words, his current speed was equivalent to 2 flashes of time. Courage, of course, comes from my strength. Suddenly, the white-eyed wolf's voice sounded behind the sea lion demon emperor. The sea lion demon emperor quivered. He didn't even dare to hesitate and threw a punch behind him. However, just as he was about to throw a punch, the white-eyed wolf disappeared again. Why is he so fast? This speed is far beyond the moment of time. Could it be related to the wings on his back? The sea lion demon emperor's face was full of disbelief. You're smart this time. It is indeed related to my wings. The white-eyed wolf's voice sounded again, and it was right next to the sea lion demon emperor's ears. The sea lion demon emperor could even feel the heat from the white-eyed wolf's mouth when he spoke. He didn't even dare to look and threw another punch. However, a fist appeared in front of him and landed directly on his face. Ah, of course, the sea lion demon emperor screamed. His entire face was lacerated and blood flowed out. If you have the ability, don't hide. This situation of being beaten almost drove him crazy. However, before his voice fell, the white-eyed wolf appeared behind him again and slapped him. Accompanied by a cracking sound, in an instant, the bones in the sea lion demon emperor's body were shattered. Bastard! I won't forgive you! The sea lion demon emperor roared. Rays of dazzling golden light roared out of his body like a torrent. The next moment, a monstrous, ferocious aura swept through the world. A huge golden sea serpent appeared in the shattered void. This was the sea python demon emperor's body. Its body was more than 10,000 feet long and covered with golden scales. Any one of the scales was bigger than a millstone. Its ferocious aura was monstrous, especially its eyes. Like two large lanterns, they flickered with a cold and gloomy light. A few days later, Dong Yuming came to the entrance. The end of this chapter. Chapter 44:22. Do you think you can turn the tables just by changing back to your original form? The white-eyed wolf was filled with disdain. It spread its golden wings and activated Moment of Time. It instantly landed behind the sea serpent. It stretched out its hands and grabbed the sea serpent's tail before smashing it down onto the broken island below. Ah! Accompanied by a scream. The sea serpent's head fell to the ground and shattered one peak after another. Its head was bleeding profusely. I'm going to swallow you alive. The sea serpent roared hysterically. It suddenly raised its head and bent its huge body. It opened its bloody mouth and revealed its sharp fangs as it pounced on the white-eyed wolf. Swallow me alive? I'm afraid your appetite won't be able to handle it. The white-eyed wolf laughed. Its body emitted a golden light and instantly turned into a giant wolf. Its body was more than 10,000 feet long. Its fur looked as if it was cast from gold. Its pair of golden eyes were like two suns. Roar! Roar! This was a battle between giant beasts. The white-eyed wolf that had changed back to its original form was even more terrifying. When it spread its wings, it was enough to cover half the sky. Golden-winged Wolf King. This is its original form. The sea serpent was shocked. Although it had mastered more ultimacy than the white-eyed wolf, the pressure that the white-eyed wolf exuded made it almost unable to breathe. This was because the white-eyed wolf had the aura of a supreme beast. Any beast that stood in front of it would have the urge to kneel down and worship it. This aura came from its fighting soul. Sky-swallowing beast. Crash. Rumble. The sacred island below had completely collapsed and was swallowed by the huge waves. The white-eyed wolf's body was like a towering mountain. Although its body had become bigger, its speed was not affected at all. It was even faster than when it was in its human form. This was because regardless of whether it was a beast or a sea beast, its strength would be limited when it was in its human form. As long as it changed back to its original form, it would be able to exert its full combat strength. Bang! 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 The two beasts continued to collide in the sky above the sea. Every time they collided, there would be an earth-shattering sound. The destructive aura swept out in all directions. After several hundred breaths of fighting, the white-eyed wolf seized an opportunity and slashed down with its claws. With a cracking sound, the sea python's head was crushed on the spot. Blood sprinkled down, dyeing the sky red. I've grasped 8 ultimate profundities of supreme laws, yet I'm still not his match? A golden sea python that was several meters long floated in the collapsed void, its eyes filled with disbelief. This was the sea python's divine soul. From afar, it looked like a baby dragon that had just been born. Don't you know? In a one-on-one battle, speed is the key to victory. The white-eyed wolf sneered. With a shake of its body, it transformed back into its human form. The clothes on its body were transformed from its golden fur, and its wings were retracted back into its body. These words were not false at all. In a one-on-one duel, the faster one would be able to completely suppress the opponent. Of course, there was a prerequisite to this. They needed to be on par with each other. Although the white-eyed wolf's ultimate enlightenment was less than the sea serpent's, he still controlled the will of the heavenly Tao. No matter how many ultimate enlightenment one had grasped, as long as it was not the ultimate enlightenment of the law of life and death, the strength of the will of the heavenly Tao would be the same. Furthermore, the white-eyed wolf's speed was much faster than the sea serpent's. With the golden wings, it was equivalent to having 2 instant times. This speed was completely crushing. Even if the sea serpent had 9 ultimate profundities of supreme laws, the white-eyed wolf would still be able to win, let alone 8 ultimate profundities of supreme laws. This was because no matter how many ultimate profundities one had, the white-eyed wolf could easily avoid them. If one's ultimate profundities could not hurt the white-eyed wolf, how could one win? On the other hand, the white-eyed wolf relied on his overwhelming speed to slowly torture one until one was covered in bruises and exhausted. In short, to defeat the white-eyed wolf, two people had to join forces. Of course, if the white-eyed wolf activated his battle soul, it would be a different story. Speed. The sea serpent's divine soul muttered as it stared at the white-eyed wolf and roared unwillingly. How can your speed be so fast? Haha, don't you understand that I'm gifted? The white-eyed wolf laughed proudly. I can't accept this. The sea serpent was hysterical. To think that he, one of the top 10 demon emperors of the Kuan Sea region, had actually lost to a wolf cub? It's not shameful for you to lose to Brother Wolf, because his strength is enough to crush anyone who has mastered the will of the heavenly Tao. Frenzy laughed. What a joke. It's just that his speed is a little faster. If you have the ability, let him fight with Lord Kuan. The sea serpent mocked. Kuan? Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at each other and couldn't help but reveal a smile on their faces. And the sea serpent was bewildered. Why was it laughing? You still don't know that we came to you for Kuan. Now that you've lost to the white-eyed wolf, you should answer our questions truthfully. Where is Kuan now? Qin Feiyong said. What? They came for Lord Kuan? The sea serpent was shocked and asked, Why are you asking about Lord Kuan's whereabouts? It's none of your business. If you don't want us to control you, hurry up and answer. The white-eyed wolf said impatiently. The sea serpent definitely couldn't split his divine soul in advance to save his life, because he didn't expect that Qin Feiyong and the others could break into the central dynasty. The sea serpent's eyes flickered and sneered. I can tell you, but I'm afraid that you won't dare to go. Don't dare to go? Haha. We even dare to break into the central dynasty. Is there any place that we don't dare to go? The white-eyed wolf laughed proudly. All right. Lord Kuan went to Imperial Capital Mountain. If you have the ability, go. The sea serpent sneered. Imperial Capital Mountain? Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. Imperial Capital Mountain. Qin Feiyong pondered a bit and looked at the Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf. There is information about Imperial Capital Mountain in the sea elephant's memory. It seems to be where the Emperor of the Central Dynasty lives. What? Where the Emperor lives? The two were dazed. What? Are you scared? If you have the ability, go. The sea serpent laughed. So noisy. A trace of anger crept up between the white-eyed wolf's eyebrows. With a slap, the sea python immediately let out a blood-curdling scream. More than half of the sea python's originally complete divine soul was annihilated in an instant. It was already in their hands, and it still didn't know what to do? Wasn't it looking for trouble? The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyong and said, Send it to the Black Tortoise World and let Long Chun take away its ultimate intent. Take away my ultimate intent? Hearing this, the sea serpent couldn't help but choose to destroy its divine soul. But would Qin Feiyong and the others give it the chance? Of course not. This person had mastered 8 ultimate intents. How could it be wasted? At this moment, the white-eyed wolf sealed the sea serpent's divine soul, and then Qin Feiyong sent it to the Black Tortoise World for Long Chun to deal with. However, Qin Feiyong had told Long Chun not to kill the sea serpent. It was still useful. The frenzy frowned and looked at Qin Feiyong and the white-eyed wolf. He said hesitantly, I'm afraid we can't just kill our way to Imperial Capital Mountain. Definitely not. Maybe the Death God Army is also at Imperial Capital Mountain. If we go there directly, it will be like sending a sheep to the tiger's mouth. Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. Then what should we do now? Should we go find that unreliable young man first or continue to hunt the other monster emperors and monster kings in the Kuan Sea region? The white-eyed wolf asked. This young man, we don't have to look for him. Anyway, when it's time to appear, he will naturally appear. Let's hunt the monster emperors and monster kings in the Kuan Sea region first. After all, these monster emperors and monster kings will become a threat to us in the future. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed. Kuan was not here, so it was a good opportunity to hunt the monster kings and monster emperors here. There's also that second direct family clan. Should we also go and meet them? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Of course. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Wait, have you forgotten a few people? Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, Dong Xian, Dong Hanzong. Should we also go and take care of them? The frenzy smirked. Qin Feiyang looked at the frenzy in shock. What was this guy thinking? Dong Tianqian, Dong Ping, Dong Xian. They must think that they can avoid us as long as they return to the Central Dynasty. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they will react when they know that we have broken into the Central Dynasty. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth, his face full of playfulness. They will probably cry. The frenzy smirked. Dong Tianqian and the other two had all made a blood oath, so as long as the ruler of the Divine Kingdom did not return, there was no need to worry about them disobeying. As for Dong Hanzong, this person must be taken good care of. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, let's talk about this later. Now, let's think about how to hunt the monster emperors and monster kings here. Do you still need to think about it? Didn't the sea python monster emperor ask the nearby sea beasts to inform them? We will just sit here and wait. The frenzy smirked. Wait for the hare to appear? The white-eyed wolf was slightly stunned and frowned. Even the 10th team of the Death God army was killed by us. Will these monster emperors and monster kings come to us? That's true. The frenzy mumbled. The members of the 10th team all left their divine souls in the Central Dynasty. They must have reported the complete annihilation to the emperor, and the Kuan Pong was now at the imperial capital mountain, so it probably already knew about it. Perhaps these people were already gathering their army and preparing to come to the Kuan Pong Sea region to encircle them. No. Although they might already know about the annihilation of the 10th team of the Death God army, they definitely don't know that we have already entered the Central Dynasty. As for these sea beasts, although they can spread the news very quickly, it will take some time for them to spread the news that we have entered the Central Dynasty to Emperor Capital Mountain. So, we still have time. But we can't just sit here and wait. We must take the initiative to attack. Kill as many as we can, Qin Feiyang said. Hearing this, the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf nodded. It was impossible to kill all the monster emperors and monster kings here. They could only kill as many as they could. Chapter 44-23. At the same time, Imperial Capital Mountain. The mountain peaks were towering, and purple clouds were rising. Auspicious beasts were galloping in the mountains. One could tell at a glance that this was not an ordinary place. In the middle of the mountain range, there was a giant mountain that was tens of thousands of feet tall. It towered into the sky like a sharp sword. At the top of the mountain, there was a magnificent palace surrounded by clouds. From afar, it looked like a celestial palace. At this moment, four figures were sitting in the main hall. Their faces were blurry, but the aura they exuded was very strong. The void in the main hall was constantly twisting and trembling. Your Majesty, why did you call us all here? Is there something important? The person who spoke was a man in white. His voice was ethereal and gentle, with a hint of elegance. Yes. The emperor sitting above nodded, then looked at another person and said, Dongqing, tell them. The emperor's voice sounded a little gloomy and terrifying. Dong Qingyuan took a deep breath, looked at the man in white and said, the members of the 10th team that we sent to the 4 great continents were all wiped out in the Taboo Ocean a few days ago. What? The man in white was shocked. Sitting next to the man in white was a man in green. Hearing Dong Qingyuan's words, he could not calm down. That's impossible. There are 10,000 members of the 10th team. Moreover, Dong Yuming has the origin energy in his hands. Who has the ability to wipe them all out? The man in green said in disbelief. I know you won't believe it, but it's the truth. Dong Qingyuan said. Who did it? The man in white frowned. Qin Feiyang, Golden-Winged Wolf King, and Madman Amo. Dong Qingyuan gritted his teeth as if he wanted to swallow the 3 of them alive. It's really them. The man in white and the man in green looked at each other in shock. They had already thought of it before, because in the 4 great continents, except for Qin Feiyang and the other 2, no one had the guts to go against the Death God army. The 10,000 members of the 10th team. More than 1,000 of them were ambushed by Qin Feiyang and the other two and died on the spot. Fortunately, they left their divine souls in advance to save their lives. Dong Qingyuan said, "Leaving behind a divine soul in advance? That's fine. I won't die anyway." The white-robed man smiled. "They are indeed lucky, but the remaining 8,000 people are not so lucky. They were all captured by Qin Feiyang and the other two. Long Chun used his soul manipulation technique to strip them of all their ultimate profundities." Dong Qingyuan clenched his fists tightly. What? The two of them suddenly stood up. If all his ultimate profound meanings were taken away, wouldn't that be the same as becoming a cripple? For an existence at this level, losing their ultimate profound was no different from being a cripple. Dong Qingyuan continued, "Furthermore, I heard from them that Qin Feiyang and the other two intend to barge into our central dynasty." Barging into our central dynasty? They must be dreaming. Do you think that the barrier formed by the origin energy is just a facade? Although the expressions on their faces could not be seen clearly, the mockery in their words could be heard clearly. It's not too early to say. Think about it. How did Qin Batian barge into our central dynasty back then? The emperor finally spoke, and his tone became gloomier. The two of them heard this and their hearts sank. When Qin Batian barged into the central dynasty, it was also far beyond their expectations. Most importantly, they had been looking for Qin Batian's whereabouts, but there was no news at all. It was as if he had suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. Right now, there's already Qin Batian who makes people feel like they're sitting on pins and needles. If Qin Feiyang and the other two barge into our central dynasty, wouldn't they turn our central dynasty upside down? That will never be allowed to happen. The emperor's tone was firm. The white-robed man and the young man took a deep breath and returned to their seats. They asked, "Then what do you plan to do?" "That's why I called you here. I plan to mobilize the entire Death God army to encircle them, and you and Dong Qingyuan will personally lead the team." The emperor said, "The entire Death God army? Is that necessary?" The white-robed man was shocked. "Sky Dragon, don't tell me you are still underestimating them? Don't be fooled by their small numbers. Each of them has a heaven-defying method." According to the members of the 10th team, not only Mu Tianyang and the demon ancestors' Eye of Despair and Eye of Evil, but even the Eye of Oblivion has appeared. Dong Qingyuan said in a deep voice, "Eye of Oblivion." The white-robed man fell silent. In the past, it was because we underestimated them that we fell into their hands again and again. So this time, we must go all out and kill them in the cradle as soon as possible. Dong Qingyuan said, "Okay, just as the emperor said." The white-robed man nodded. Also, the Tabu Ocean and the Kuan-Peng Ocean border. If Qin Feiyang and the other two really barge into the central dynasty, the Kuan-Peng Ocean will definitely become a battlefield. Kuan-Peng, you have to let the monster emperors and monster kings down there prepare in advance. The emperor looked at the azure-robed man and said, "Understood." The azure-robed man nodded. "All right, you all get ready and set off immediately. This time, I hope to hear good news from you," the emperor said. The repeated defeats almost made him lose confidence. "What about Qin Batian? Are we still going to continue tracking his whereabouts?" The white-robed man asked. "Let's ignore Qin Batian for now. It's more important to deal with Qin Feiyang and the other two." Now, at least hundreds of monster kings have become souls in their hands, the sea beast said in a deep voice. "What? These three little bastards, they're courting death." The Kuan-Peng was furious. "We can't let them continue, and we can't let them step into the continent of our central dynasty. We must surround them in the Kuan-Peng Sea region," Dong Qingyuan said, and the dragon god nodded. If these three people really left the Kuan-Peng Sea region and stepped into the continent of the central dynasty would definitely be in chaos. After all, they even dared to kill the monster kings and monster emperors here. What else did they not dare to do? The Kuan-Peng's eyes flashed and looked at the sea beast. "Immediately pass down my order. Tell the monster kings and monster emperors not to confront Qin Feiyang and the other two."
Yes.
The sea beast nodded and immediately sank into the sea, disappearing without a trace. Immediately, the Kuan Pong looked at Dong Qingyuan. Dong Qingyuan understood. He waved his old hand, and a group of people appeared in the void in front of him. There were men and women, old and young. But without exception, there was a sword pattern on the chest of their clothes. That's right. They were the members of the Death God Army. Obviously, the Death God Army was hidden in Dong Qingyuan's space divine object. Dong Kuan, Dong Qian, you two lead the 9th team and the 8th team to block the coastline of the Kuan Pong Sea region. You must not let Qin Feiyang and the others leave the Kuan Pong Sea region. Dong Qingyuan ordered. Yes. The two middle-aged men bowed and then looked at the others behind them and shouted, "Let's go." There were about 20,000 people in this group. As Dong Kuan and the other two gave the order, they immediately turned and swept toward the coast. Phew. Watching the group leave, Dong Qingyuan took a deep breath and looked at the Kuan Pong and the dragon god. He said in a deep voice, "This time, we must kill them." And the two nodded. Both of them were murderous. Especially the Kuan Pong. His whole body was emitting a murderous aura that could not be dissipated. As soon as they came, they killed the monster emperors and monster kings under his command. Was this a show of strength? Just wait. The Kuan Pong Sea region will be your burial ground. Chapter 44-24. At the same time, Taboo Ocean. A black figure broke through the air like lightning and landed below the floating island. Dong Kunshin. This person was Dong Yumming. With a gloomy face, he looked at the floating island and shouted. However, there was no response from the island for a long time. Dong Yumming frowned, swept to the top of the void island, and scanned the island. Why is there no one? The small island could be seen at a glance, but he couldn't even find a shadow. Are you from the Central Dynasty? Suddenly, a timid voice sounded below. Dong Yumming looked down and saw a seal emerging from the water, looking at him in fear. Yes, I am the commander of the Death God Legion's 10th team, Dong Yumming. Dong Yumming nodded. The seal immediately prostrated and said respectfully, "Sir, I know where Sir Dong Kunshin is." "Where is he?" Dong Yumming quickly landed in front of the seal and asked. The seal said, "He was captured by Qin Feiyang, Mad Manimo, and Golden Wing Wolf King. He may have met with an accident." What? Dong Yumming's eyes trembled. Dong Kunshin was captured by Qin Feiyang and the other two. How is this possible? This is what I saw with my own eyes at that time. It seems that a woman named Lin Yi opened the eyes of oblivion and controlled Dong Kunshin. The seal said, "Lin Yi, eyes of oblivion. This damn woman." As soon as Dong Yumming heard this, he was furious. Because more than 8,000 of his subordinates were captured, it was also related to Lin Yi. Feeling Dong Yumming's anger, the seal trembled. Dong Yumming said in a deep voice, "Where are Qin Feiyang and the others now?" The seal said truthfully, "They got the Divine Kingdom token from Sir Dong Kunshin and then entered the Central Dynasty. I don't know where they are now." Damn it. The Divine Kingdom token fell into their hands. Dong Yumming clenched his hands. Without the Divine Kingdom token, how could he enter the Central Dynasty now? And now, he couldn't contact the people of the Central Dynasty. Could they only stand here and stare? The grievance and anger in his heart almost caused him to collapse. Kuanping Sea Region. In the sky above a sea, more than 10 sea beasts fled for their lives. His entire body was drenched in blood. His eyes were also filled with fear. These dozen or so sea beasts were extremely powerful, because they were all demon kings, grasping the will of the heavenly Tao. However, at this moment, they were in an extremely sorry state. The reason was that there were 3 people chasing after them. These 3 people were undoubtedly Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were also covered in blood. However, it was not in their blood. This was because their blood was different from that of ordinary people. Qin Feiyang had purple gold dragon blood. The white-eyed wolf had golden blood. The madman's blood, on the other hand, contained an extremely evil aura. But now, the bloodstains on their bodies were the same as those of ordinary people. The blood was undoubtedly from the demon kings they had killed in the Kuan Pong Sea region. Whoosh! With dual wills of the heavenly Tao, coupled with split time, in just a few blinks of an eye, Qin Feiyong and the other two blocked in front of the dozen or so demon kings. What do you want? The dozen or so demon kings stopped and roared in horror and anger. What else can we do? Of course we want to kill you. The madman laughed. You'd better restrain yourselves. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in the Central Dynasty. Lord Kuanping will not let you go either. The dozen or so demon kings roared in despair. They had already tried their best to escape, but facing Qin Feiyong, who had dual wills of the heavenly Tao, no matter how hard they tried to escape, they would be caught. Are you still counting on Kuanping? It's not that we look down on him, but when he meets us, he can only run for his life. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Clang! The all-evil sword appeared, its sharpness peerless. The dozen or so demon kings were disheartened, and a destructive aura suddenly rushed out from their bodies. Self-destruction. The dignified demon kings who had grasped the will of the heavenly Tao were actually forced to self-destruct, showing how desperate they were at this moment. Hey! The madman bared his teeth. The all-evil sword was like a flash of light as it instantly arrived. Roar! The bodies of the dozen or so demon kings were shattered on the spot. The white-eyed wolf immediately took action and suppressed their divine souls. The entire process was done in one go without any hesitation. Because they had encountered too many similar situations these days, and at the beginning, a few demon kings had succeeded in self-destructing, causing them to suffer quite a bit, so they definitely would not let such a situation happen again. How many? Qin Feiyong asked with a smile. The white-eyed wolf lowered his head and thought for a while, then looked at the sealed divine souls of the dozen or so demon kings and grinned. Including them, it's exactly 750 demon kings. Not bad. Qin Feiyong nodded. 750 demon kings were equivalent to 750 inheritances of ultimate profundities of supreme laws. Unfortunately, we haven't even found a single demon emperor these days. The madman shook his head. They had been to the lairs of a few demon emperors, but the lairs were already empty. Obviously, they had already heard the news and fled. Suddenly, the divine soul of one of the demon kings looked at Qin Feiyong and the other two and said in horror, "Don't kill us. We have a piece of news that we can tell you." What news? Qin Feiyong and the other two were stunned and looked at the demon king suspiciously. What are you doing? Are you going to betray everyone? When the other demon kings heard this, they immediately looked at the demon king and shouted. The demon king said gloomily, "Now, we can't even save our own lives. Why do we still care so much?" You, the other demon kings glared at him. Shut up. Do you believe that I will deprive you of your ultimate mysteries right now and destroy your souls? The white-eyed wolf glared fiercely, and the group of demon kings were instantly terrified. Then, the white-eyed wolf looked at the demon king and asked, "Speak. What news? You have to promise me to let us go first." The demon king said, "Do you think you are still qualified to negotiate with us now?" The white-eyed wolf sneered. The demon king's gaze trembled. "If you don't say it now, after you are controlled by Long Chin's soul-controlling technique later, you will still say it. So I advise you to be sensible. Maybe we will really let you go when we are in a good mood." The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Okay, I'll say it. These days, we have received news from the 9 demon kings one after another. They asked all the demon kings to gather at Kuan Pong Divine Island. The demon king said, "Kuan Pong Divine Island?" Qin Feiyong and the other two were stunned. Kuan Pong Divine Island is where Lord Kuan Pong lives. It is located in the northwest of the sea. The demon king said, "Why do they want you to gather at Kuan Pong Divine Island?" The white-eyed wolf was puzzled. Because they all know that no one is your match in a one-on-one fight. So they want everyone to go to Kuan Pong Divine Island. This way, even if we are found by you, we can join forces to deal with you. The demon king finished in one breath and looked at the 3 of them pitifully, asking, "Can you let me go now?" "Yes, of course." The white-eyed wolf nodded and grinned. "However, you have to bring us to Kuan Pong Divine Island first." These demon kings were quite smart. They knew how to team up. What? You still want to go to Kuanpong Divine Island? The Demon King's eyes trembled. These three people were too bold, weren't they? They knew that the 9 Demon Kings and Demon Kings were gathered at Kuanpong Divine Island, but they still wanted to go there. Were they really not afraid of death? Calm down, calm down. Isn't it exactly what we want them to gather at Kuanpong Divine Island? We can catch them all in one go. The white-eyed wolf laughed. What? The Demon King's eyes trembled. Catch all the Demon Kings and Demon Kings in one go? Wasn't this tone a little too arrogant? You should know that there are only 3 of you. There were a total of 10,000 Demon Kings in the Kuanpong Sea region. Even now, you have killed 750 Demon Kings, and there are still more than 9,000 Demon Kings. This was not including the 9 Demon Kings. You want to catch all of them in one go with such a terrifying lineup? Are you dreaming? The other Demon Kings also looked at the white-eyed wolf in shock. He really dared to say that. You've never seen the world. The white-eyed wolf looked at the Demon Kings in disdain and turned to Qin Feiyang. He urged, Little Qinzi, hurry up. There are more than 9,000 Demon Kings and 9 Demon Kings. This is another rich treasure. Treasure? The Demon Kings were dumbfounded. These people really wouldn't stop until their words shocked people to death. Demon Kings and Demon Kings were actually treasures in their eyes. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. He sent the other Demon Kings to the Black Tortoise Realm and handed them to Long Chen. The remaining demon monarch's true form was a sea lion. Seeing that his companions were sent to the Black Tortoise Realm, the Sea Lion Demon King couldn't help but tremble. Fortunately, he cooperated obediently. Otherwise, he would definitely be like the other Demon Kings. Lead the way. Qin Feiyang smiled. Over there. The Sea Lion Demon King shuddered and hurriedly pointed in the northwest direction. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and swept up the madman and the white-eyed wolf. He activated the dual will of the heavenly Tao and tore through the sky like lightning. As for the Sea Lion Demon King's soul, it had been suppressed by the white-eyed wolf. Chapter 44-25. On the way, they soon encountered another group of monster kings. These monster kings were all rushing to Kuanpong Divine Island. Their bodies were comparable to mountains, especially a seahorse with wings. When it spread its wings, it was like a giant beast that covered the sky. Hello. The white-eyed wolf began to greet them from afar. The group of monster kings was taken aback. When they turned their heads, their expressions changed. Why did they encounter these 3 murderous stars? Run! There were a total of 30 monster kings, but none of them dared to stop and fight. They fled frantically, almost using all their strength. Are we demons? Running when you see us? The white-eyed wolf was puzzled. You guys are scarier than demons, okay? The remnant soul of the Sea Lion Demon King couldn't help but curse. With the crazy behavior of the 3 of you, if I wasn't afraid of you, would I stay and wait for death? Do you have a problem with us? The white-eyed wolf glanced at the Sea Lion Demon King. Although he didn't hear the Sea Lion Demon King's curse, he could guess something from his eyes. No, no. The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head. You better not, otherwise I will destroy you. A cold light flashed in the white-eyed wolf's eyes, scaring the Sea Lion Demon King. With 2 wills of the heavenly Tao, the speed of Qin Feiyang and the others was naturally faster than those monster kings. Don't come over. The group of monster kings roared in horror, almost crying. You guys told us not to go over, so we won't go over. Is that giving you face? Madman laughed. After a few breaths, they finally caught up with the group of monster kings. We can't run away. Everyone, get ready to fight. The seahorse roared. Although he didn't want to face Qin Feiyang and the others, he had no choice now. If he couldn't run away, he could only fight. Boom. Ultimate profound meanings appeared out of thin air, and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted. There were more than 30 demon monarchs, and there were close to 200 ultimate profundities of ultimate laws. If this was in the Sky Cloud realm, just these 30 monster kings could raise the entire Sky Cloud realm to the ground. Because in the Sky Cloud realm, except for Long Zun, there was no one who had mastered the will of the heavenly Tao. Kill. The group of monster kings roared in unison. Nearly 200 ultimate mysteries shattered the sky and charged towards Qin Feiyong and the other two. The suppressed divine soul beside the golden-winged wolf king seems to be the sea lion demon king under the sea python demon emperor. It is indeed him. Never would I have thought that even he had fallen into the hands of these three people. When the group of demon monarchs saw demon monarch sea lion soul, they became even more terrified. Just this? The white-eyed wolf laughed disdainfully. He activated his heaven-devouring battle soul and opened his mouth. Under the horrified gazes of the demon kings, he swallowed all the ultimate mysteries in one gulp. In the end, there was not even a ripple. No way. This is too abnormal. Are you still human? The group of demon kings trembled. He had devoured close to 200 ultimate profundities of supreme laws in one go, and he even possessed the will of the heavenly Tao. This was simply unheard of. He was simply a monster. There was no doubt about it. Finally, these 30-odd demon monarchs were all captured by Qin Feiyong and the other two. They couldn't even do anything to the white-eyed wolf's battle soul, let alone Qin Feiyong and Lunatic's 3,000 incarnations and the all-evil sword. Therefore, no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't turn the situation around. Old Qin, if we go to Kuan-Pong Divine Island so blatantly, will we scare away those demon emperors and demon kings? Half a day later, Lunatic frowned. In this half a day, they encountered many demon monarchs. Until now, they had captured a total of 900 demon monarchs. Scare them away? The white-eyed wolf was taken aback. He patted his head and said, "Yes, they spread the news very quickly. If they know that we are going to Kuan-Pong Divine Island, we might really scare them away." "Then what should we do?" Qin Feiyong asked. Lunatic rolled his eyes and suddenly looked at the sea lion demon king. "Why are you looking at me?" The sea lion demon king immediately panicked. Looking at Lunatic's eyes, it was definitely not a good thing. Lunatic laughed and said, "Little lion, do you really want to live?" "Yes, yes, yes." The sea lion demon king was taken aback. When he came back to his senses, he nodded repeatedly. Who didn't want to live? "Okay, then now, listen to our arrangements. As long as you bring us to Kuan-Pong Divine Island, we will let you go." Lunatic said, "You mean it?" The sea lion demon king was overjoyed. "Yes. If you don't believe me, I can make a blood oath. When we reach Kuan-Pong Divine Island, if I don't let you go, I will be struck by lightning." Lunatic pointed to the sky and swore. There really was an oath imprint descending. Seeing this scene, the sea lion demon king was overjoyed. With a blood oath as guarantee, what was there to be afraid of? Basically, his life was saved. "What are you doing?" The white-eyed wolf looked at Lunatic suspiciously. It didn't seem like Lunatic's character to make a blood oath so easily. Lunatic moved closer to the ears of Qin Feiyong and the white-eyed wolf and whispered a few words. "So that's how it is." The two of them suddenly understood. Immediately, Qin Feiyong took the two of them and the sea lion demon king and disappeared without a trace. Black Tortoise World. With the help of the mermaid princess, the sea lion demon king quickly reconstructed a complete divine soul and body. This is the Eye of Life? So strong. As a demon king of the Kuan-Pong Sea region, he could be considered experienced and knowledgeable, but when he saw the terrifying healing ability of the Eye of Life, he couldn't help but be shocked. Lunatic smiled and said, "Turn back to your human form." The sea lion demon king was taken aback. What did he mean? "Hurry up," Lunatic urged. "Okay." The sea lion demon king quickly nodded and transformed into a middle-aged burly man. He then looked at Lunatic and asked, "And then? Then you also make a blood oath to successfully bring us to Kuan-Pong Divine Island. You can't have any evil intentions on the way, especially secretly revealing our identity to other demon kings." Lunatic said, "Okay." The sea lion demon king nodded and quickly made a blood oath. However, when he made the blood oath, he felt a faint sense of unease in his heart. It was as if there was a trap waiting for him. Not bad, very sincere." Lunatic chuckled. Qin Feiyong and White-Eyed Wolf also had a smile on their faces. Looking at the smiles on their faces, the Sea Lion Demon King's uneasiness grew stronger. Could there really be a trap? Then, under the Sea Lion Demon King's bewildered gaze, Qin Feiyong and the other two took out the illusion form pill and turned into three middle-aged burly men, suppressing their cultivation. Subordinate greets Lord Demon King. Then, the three of them bowed to the Sea Lion Demon King. What do you mean? Looking at the three of them, the Sea Lion Demon King was dumbfounded. Lunatic smiled and said, "Now, we are your trusted subordinates." Trusted subordinates? The Sea Lion Demon King was taken aback. "Yes. If you meet other Demon Kings on the way, you will introduce us like this." Lunatic nodded. The Sea Lion Demon King frowned. But suddenly, he quivered and his face was instantly filled with anger as he roared, "You guys actually set a trap for me." Set a trap? What do you mean? Qin Feiyong and the other two pretended to be puzzled. "You guys pretended to be my trusted subordinates and asked me to take you to Kuan Pong Divine Island. Once you make a move, everyone will definitely think that I am with you guys." The Sea Lion Demon King roared. He knew that this matter wasn't that simple. He was the one who brought them to Kuan Pong Divine Island. At that time, how would he explain it to the other Demon Kings and Demon Emperors? Even if he had 100 mouths, he wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. Even if he explained, the other Demon Kings and Demon Emperors wouldn't easily believe him. So, even if Qin Feiyong and the other two let him go, the other Demon Kings and Demon Emperors wouldn't let him go. In the end, he would still have to die. "You're not stupid. You reacted so quickly, but it's too late to regret now because you've already made a blood oath. Don't worry, when we reach Kuan Pong Divine Island, we will definitely fulfill our promise and let you go." Lunatic chuckled. "What's the point of letting me go? At that time, everyone will definitely think that I'm a traitor. Will they let me go? The entire sea region is Lord Kuan Peng's territory. If everyone thinks that I'm a traitor, where else can I go?" The Sea Lion Demon King roared. He was too cunning. Sure enough, there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Whether there's a place for you here or not is your own business. Anyway, we will definitely fulfill our promise. Lunatic said, You, what a bastard." The Sea Lion Demon King wanted to cry but had no tears. He fell into the trap of these three bastards for no reason. Scold, scold, scold as you wish. It's only right and proper for Lord Demon King to scold me. Lunatic bared his teeth. The Sea Lion Demon King looked up at the sky in self-pity. Why was he so unlucky to meet these three scammers? Another half a day passed. Because he needed to hide his identity, Qin Feiyong couldn't activate the dual will of heaven, so his speed was greatly reduced. However, although his speed was slower, the journey became much smoother. After all, the sea lion was a demon king. No matter where he went, the sea beasts he encountered would definitely be respectful. Late at night, they met another group of demon kings. There were more than 50 of them. Although these demon kings came from different places in the sea area, they all knew each other. After all, they all lived in the same sea area. Sea Lion, who are these three? A demon king looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyong and the other two. They are this king's confidants. They are one step away from grasping the will of heaven. So I was afraid that they would encounter an accident, so I brought them with me. The Sea Lion Demon King braced himself and said, "So that's the case. Not bad. Even your confidants have almost grasped the will of heaven. It seems that in the future, your status in our Kuan Pong Sea area will be greatly improved." The group of demon kings smiled and complimented. No. The Sea Lion Demon King hurriedly waved his hand. His heart was about to die from worry. He really wanted to tell these demon kings that these three people were Qin Feiyong, Madman Amo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King. However, because of the restriction of the blood oath, he didn't dare to do so. "Greetings, Lord Demon Kings." Qin Feiyong and the other two also behaved very sensibly and bowed to the group of demon kings. No need to be so polite. When you grasp the will of heaven, you will also become the demon kings of our Kuan Pong Sea area. At that time, everyone's status will be the same. The group of demon kings chuckled. The sea lion demon king couldn't laugh at all and kept a worried face. Chapter 44:26. Sea Lion, what are you doing? Why are you frowning? Some monster kings looked at him suspiciously. The Sea Lion Monster King was stunned and sighed. It's all because of Qin Fei Yong, Madman Emo, and the Golden-Winged Wolf King. Speaking of this, he couldn't help but glance at Qin Fei Yong and the other two. He said angrily, "These three bastards have caused chaos in the Kuan-Pong Sea region. I'm really worried." Qin Fei Yong and the other two looked at each other. This guy must be scolding them on purpose, because now, even if he scolded them badly, they wouldn't dare to retort. Hearing Qin Fei Yong and the other two, the other monster kings also fell silent, their faces extremely gloomy. "Don't be afraid. As long as we reach Kuan-Pong Island and meet up with everyone, we will organize a counterattack. Yes, they are very strong, but we have more people. As long as we work together, we will definitely be able to kill them." The group of monster kings spoke one after another, their eyes flashing with killing intent. Hearing this, the Sea Lion Monster King felt inexplicably sad. More people? Working together? You don't know. This is what Qin Fei Yong and the other two want. If we all gather at Kuan-Pong Island, it will be easier for them to kill us all. However, he didn't dare to say it out loud. The next morning, the number of monster kings they encountered had already reached 500. Every time the white-eyed wolf saw these monster kings, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. It was as if he was looking at a delicious cake. The third day, the number of monster kings gathered from all directions had already reached 900. At noon on the third day, "Greetings, monster kings." A perfected sovereign sea beast rushed out of the sea and prostrated in front of the monster kings. Qin Fei Yong and the other two looked at each other with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. Why would there be a sea beast blocking their way? "What's the matter?" the monster king walking at the front asked. The sea beast said, "Lord Kuan-Pong has sent an order, telling you all not to fight Qin Fei Yong, Madman Emo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King head-on. Lord Kuan-Pong has received the news that Qin Fei Yong and the others have entered the Central Dynasty." The demon kings were overjoyed. That's right. Moreover, Lord Kuan-Ping has returned. It's said that the dragon god, Dongqing Yuan, is also traveling with them. The sea beast said, "Dragon god and Dongqing Yuan are here too?" Upon hearing this, the group of demon monarchs looked at each other. "Yes, there's one more thing. Dongqing Yuan has ordered the Death God Legion's 9th and 8th teams to seal off the coastline of the Kuan-Pong Sea area. It is said that they want to trap Qin Fei Yong and the other two in the Kuan-Pong Sea area." The sea beast said, "The 9th team, the 8th team? How many people are there in these two teams?" A monster king asked in surprise. "I think there are 20,000 of them," the sea beast said. "So many? The Death God army is indeed terrifying." The group of demon kings was shocked. Obviously, they didn't know much about the Death God army. Damn, they really think highly of us. They actually sent out 2 teams. Lunatic secretly said, "I think it's more than that." Qin Fei Yong transmitted his voice, his eyes flickering. "More than that?" Lunatic and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. Think about it. If Dongqing Yuan really only brought 2 teams, would he send them to seal off the coast of the Kuan-Pong Sea area? He would definitely leave a small team by his side so that he can kill us when the time comes. Qin Fei Yong secretly analyzed. Makes sense. Lunatic and the white-eyed wolf mumbled. This was because the demon kings of the Kuan-Pong Sea area alone were not enough to kill them. Qin Fei Yong secretly said, "I think Dongqing Yuan brought at least 4 teams this time, or even more. What should we do?" The white-eyed wolf was shocked. Qin Fei Yong's eyes flashed slightly as he looked at the sea beast in front of him and asked, "Where is Lord Kuan-Pong now?" The sea beast said, "Lord Kuan-Pong is taking the dragon god and Dongqing to the Kuan-Pong Island. They should be there soon." That's great. With Lord Kuan-Pong, the heavenly dragon god, and Lord Dongqing Yuan overseeing the place, even if Qin Fei Yong and the other 2 bastards were given 100 guts, they would not dare to go to the Kuan-Pong Sacred Island. If they rush there, they will definitely die. The group of demon kings was excited and continued to rush to the Kuanpong Island. The sea beast that came to report also hid in the sea and disappeared. Damn it! They actually went to the Kuanpong Island too. The white-eyed wolf secretly cursed. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, looked at the sea lion demon king in front of him and transmitted his voice. How long will it take for us to reach the Kuanpong Island? Soon. About 2 hours. The sea lion demon king secretly replied. So long? Then when we rush to the Kuanpong Island, won't we bump into Kuanpong, Dong Qingyuan, and the dragon god? The lunatic was shocked, because the sea beast had also said that before. Kuanpong, Dong Qingyuan, and the dragon god were about to reach the Kuanpong Island. Why don't we go? The sea lion demon king thought to himself, feeling uneasy. Let's go. I want to see how many teams Dong Qingyuan has brought this time. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. Moreover, if Kuanpong, Dong Qingyuan, and the dragon god arrived at the Kuanpong Island later than them, they could still act according to the original plan. There were more than 9,000 demon kings and more than 50,000 ultimate profundities. It would be a pity if they missed it. The lunatic and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. It seemed that they would have to experience danger again. Time passed. A few hours passed. A huge island gradually appeared in front of them. It stretched as far as the eye could see. Mountains overlapped and ancient trees towered into the sky. This was the Kuanpong Island. At this moment, many figures had already gathered on the island. They were the demon kings of the Kuanpong Sea region. Every demon king's aura was as unfathomable as the ocean. Qin Feiyang and the other two followed behind the sea lion demon king. No demon king suspected anything and directly entered the Kuanpong Island. Sea lion, you're here too? A group of demon kings greeted the sea lion. These demon kings seemed to be very familiar with the sea lion demon king, because they were the same as the sea lion demon king, the sea python demon king's subordinates. Yes. The sea lion demon king also braced himself and responded. Who are the three of them? Why haven't I seen them before? Very soon, some demon kings noticed Qin Feiyang and the other two standing behind the sea lion demon king. They are my trusted subordinates. The sea lion demon king briefly introduced them. Not bad. It's only been a few decades since we last met, and you've already taken in 3 talented subordinates. A demon king chuckled. In fact, there was also competition between demon kings. The stronger the sea beast under their command, the higher their status. Not bad. The sea lion demon king chuckled and asked, what about the 8 demon kings? They are the Kuanpong Mountain. A demon king turned around and pointed to the center of the island. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked up and saw a huge mountain standing in the center of the island. It was tens of thousands of feet tall. From afar, it looked like a heavenly rock spreading its wings and flying high. Lord Kuanpong, Dragon God, has Dong Qingyuan returned? The sea lion demon king asked again. Not yet. The demon king shook his head. Phew. Hearing this, the sea lion demon king secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other, and a smile appeared in their eyes. Didn't come back? That's good. They could act according to the original plan. Madman secretly smiled and said, Sea Lion, we will keep our word. We will let you go now and give you freedom. The Sea Lion Demon King's expression stiffened. Now that all the Demon Kings on the island know that you are my subordinates, what's the point of letting me go now? If you don't want to die, leave quickly. Madman said, Where can I go? The Sea Lion Demon King wanted to cry but had no tears. Anywhere is fine. It has nothing to do with us anyway. Madman responded indifferently and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. A trace of killing intent flashed in the eyes of the three at the same time. However, at this moment, boom! Wisps of terrifying auras surged toward them. Qin Feiyang and the other two were shocked and hurriedly looked up. The surrounding demon kings also looked up and their faces were instantly filled with joy. However, Qin Feiyang and the other two frowned, and a trace of anger flashed across their faces. In the sky above the sea in the distance, a group of people broke through the air like lightning. The three people in the lead had blurry faces and powerful auras. One of the auras was particularly familiar to Qin Feiyang and the other two. It was Dong Qingyuan. Since Dong Qingyuan was here, there was no doubt that the other two must be the Kuan Pong and the Dragon God. They came back at the right time. If they came a little later, we could have successfully hunted them. Madman secretly transmitted his voice. Sigh. I can only say that these demon kings are not destined to die. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly. Since Dong Qingyuan was here, he would definitely not let go easily. This was because they did not know if Dong Qingyuan had anyone from the Death God army with him. Behind Dong Qingyuan and the other two, there were hundreds of people. These people were not from the Death God army because they were all wearing all kinds of clothes and had strong auras. They should be the demon kings that Dong Qingyuan and the other two encountered on the way. Lord Kuan Pong. Accompanied by a shout, 9 figures rushed out from the peak of the Kuan Pong mountain and welcomed Kuan Pong. These 9 people were the other 9 demon kings. You're all here. Kuan Pong entered the island and said to the 9 of them, yes. The 9 of them nodded and then looked at Dong Qingyuan and the Dragon God. They bowed and said, greetings, lords. The 2 of them nodded and scanned the demon kings on the island. One of the demon kings said, almost all the demon kings under us are here. Those who didn't come might have already met with misfortune. Kuan Pong said, I heard that many demon kings have already fallen into the hands of Qin Feiyang and the others? Yes. The 9 demon kings nodded, their eyes filled with anger. The Kuan Pong Sea region had never suffered such a blow. What about the Sea Python Demon King? Are you sure it has fallen into the hands of Qin Feiyang and the others? Kuan Pong asked. Yes. At that time, many sea beasts saw it with their own eyes. The 9 demon kings clenched their hands, their faces full of hostility. Damn it, I won't forgive them. Kuan Pong was furious. Its aura surged into the sky and shook the earth. A demon king asked carefully, Lord, I heard that the 10th team of the Death God army has been wiped out in the Taboo Ocean. Is this true? Kuan Pong did not answer. Because this was a matter of the Death God army and Dong Qingyuan was also present, it was not appropriate for him to say anything. Chapter 44:27.
Yes.
10,000 people, almost all annihilated. Dong Qingyuan nodded. His voice was low and hoarse, showing that he was trying his best to control the anger in his heart. As soon as these words came out, the 9 monster emperors and all the monster kings felt a storm in their hearts. Although they weren't very clear about the specific situation of the Death God Legion, there was one thing that everyone in the Central Dynasty knew. Every member of the Death God Legion had mastered the will of Heavenly Tao. The 10th team had a total of 10,000. In their Kuan Pong Sea region, all the monster kings added up were only 10,000. In other words, the combat power of a small team was comparable to their entire Kuan Pong Sea region. But, even so, the 10th team was still annihilated in the Taboo Sea. Lord Dong, could it be that Qin Feiyang and the other two also have many powerhouses with the will of Heavenly Tao? A monster king asked. No, just the 3 of them. Dong Qingyuan's eyes were spewing fire as he roared in a low voice. If Qin Feiyang and the other two really had powerhouses with the will of Heavenly Tao, then he could still figure out why the 10th team was annihilated. But the other party only had 3 people. No, there were also Mu Tianyang, Mu Qing, and Lin A. But even with these 3 people, there were only 6 of them. Just 6 people annihilated a small team. This was simply the greatest shame in the history of the Death God Legion. No way. Just a few of them annihilated 10,000 members of the Death God Legion? When the Monster Kings heard this, they couldn't help but look horrified. Just how strong were these people? It was simply unimaginable. This is what I'm going to tell you next. Facing Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden Wing Wolf King, you must not underestimate them. It's no exaggeration to say that if given enough time, they can wipe out all of you monster emperors and monster kings in one fell swoop. Dong Qingyuan said in a deep voice. Hearing this, the 9 monster emperors and thousands of monster kings couldn't help but tremble. So this time, we must eliminate them. Don't worry. This time, I have brought the entire Death God army with me. As long as we find Qin Feiyang and the other two, they will definitely die. Dong Qingyuan sneered. I'll go. You brought the entire Death God army? When Qin Feiyang and the other two heard this, it was as if a bolt from the blue had struck their minds. What a joke. Even if the 10th squad suffered heavy casualties, the Death God army still had 9 other squads. Even if the 9th and 8th teams went to block the coastline, there were still 7 teams left. 7 teams. How shocking was this? And don't forget, the Dragon God and Kuren Pong both needed Pinnacle Dominator divine weapons. Someone would definitely say that. Qin Feiyang's 3,000 clones could replicate all of the opponent's ultimate profundities. Furthermore, each clone could replicate thousands or even tens of thousands of ultimate profound meanings. With 3,000 clones, wouldn't they be able to fight against the Death God army? But one had to know. Dong Qingyuan and the others also knew that Qin Feiyang had 3,000 clones. Could they let Qin Feiyang successfully activate the 3,000 clones and Eye of Heaven to replicate their ultimate profundities? Definitely not. Although the 3,000 clones and Eye of Heaven were powerful, they had to be successfully activated and replicated. If they were interrupted midway, they would die. Therefore, facing the Death God army, they absolutely couldn't take such a risk. This central dynasty really hates us to the bone. Madman secretly sighed. There's no other way. Who asked us to be so awesome? White-eyed Wolf laughed. You are still proud? Madman was speechless. Now he was almost worried to death. Because, since the Emperor had sent this Death God army to follow Dong Qingyuan and the other two to kill them, it was enough to prove the Emperor's killing intent. In the future, their situation in the Central Dynasty would be quite bad. In the sky, Dong Qingyuan was full of murderous intent. Kuan Pong, Dragon God, also had bone-chilling cold currents on his body. When the 9 demon emperors heard that Dong Qingyuan had brought the entire Death God army, they couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Now, pass down my order. Let the sea beasts of the Kuan Pong Sea domain track the whereabouts of Qin Feiyang and the other two with all their might. Dong Qingyuan looked at the 9 demon emperors and ordered. Yes, the 9 demon emperors nodded respectfully. Following closely, Kuan Pong, Dragon God, and Dong Qingyuan flew towards Kuan Pong Mountain. The 9 demon emperors watched the 3 of them leave, then looked down at the demon kings below and ordered, take action immediately, but remember, don't go too far from Kuan Pong Divine Island. Yes. Thousands of demon kings nodded and immediately rushed towards the surrounding sea. The 3 of you, can we discuss this? Sea Lion Demon King retracted his gaze and secretly sent a message to Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Discuss what? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were suspicious. Take the opportunity to leave Kuan Pong Divine Island now. In the future, we will pretend that we have never met. I also beg you not to leak the fact that I brought you to Kuan Pong Divine Island. Sea Lion Demon King secretly said with a hint of pleading in his tone, because only in this way could he be completely safe. About this, it's not impossible. Madman bared his teeth. Sea Lion Demon King was overjoyed. But there is a condition. Madman said again. I knew it wouldn't be so easy. Sea Lion Demon King almost collapsed. Madman secretly said, take us out of Kuan Pong Sea domain. What? Sea Lion Demon King was shocked and secretly said angrily, are you planning to completely drag me onto your pirate ship? If he really sent Qin Feiyang and the other 2 out of Kuan Pong Sea domain, then there would be no chance of saving them in the future. In other words, at that time, he would be completely tied to Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Why are you in such a hurry? As long as we don't expose our identities, who will know that you are the one who took us out of Kuan Pong Sea domain? Don't worry. As long as we leave Kuan Pong Sea domain, we will definitely not pester you, and I promise to keep this matter a secret. Madman solemnly transmitted his voice. Promise? Why do I find it so hard to believe? The corner of Sea Lion Demon King's mouth twitched. Don't keep standing here. The other Demon Kings have already left. If we don't leave, it will be too eye-catching. Let's talk as we walk. Madman secretly laughed. Sea Lion Demon King's face was full of helplessness. He led Qin Feiyang and the other two out of Kuan Peng Sea domain. Don't doubt it. We have been together for so many days. You still don't believe in our character? Madman patted Sea Lion Demon King's back and laughed. No, I have already brought you to Kuan Peng Sea domain, which can be considered as fulfilling my promise. I will not take any more risks with you. Sea Lion Demon King shook his head. Not only Sea Lion Demon King, but the oath mark in Madman's body had also disappeared, because now they had indeed released Sea Lion Demon King. So stubborn? Believe it or not, I will go find Dongqing and tell them that you have betrayed the divine kingdom, Madman threatened. Sea Lion Demon King was startled, but suddenly his eyes rolled and he laughed. Sure, go find them as long as you are not afraid of death. Still so arrogant. Fine. At most, we will die together. No, we have two wills of the heavenly Tao. If we can't beat them, can't we run? It will be difficult for us to die even if we want to. But you might be so lucky. As long as we insist that you've already sided with us, do you think Dong Qingyuan and the others will let you go when the time comes? Madman had a smirk on his face. I have never seen someone as shameless as you. Sea Lion Demon King stared at Madman angrily, almost going crazy. Didn't you see it now? Madman didn't care about Sea Lion Demon King's insults at all. Sea Lion Demon King wanted to cry but had no tears. This was really 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Let's go. You can't run away. It's easy to get on a pirate ship, but it's difficult to get off. White-Eyed Wolf laughed. Sigh. Sea Lion Demon King sighed helplessly and looked at the three of them. Keep my word? If I take you out of the Kuan Peng Sea region, you will let me go? And help me keep it a secret? Of course. Madman nodded. I don't believe you. I want Qin Feiyang's answer. Sea Lion Demon King snorted coldly and stared at Qin Feiyang. Your sister? Am I so untrustworthy? Madman was very unhappy. Sea Lion Demon King rolled his eyes. Only a fool would believe you. Qin Feiyang laughed as he looked at the madman. He looked at the Sea Lion Archfiend and said, I'll keep my word. Okay, I believe you. Let's go, but be careful not to be seen by others. Sea Lion Demon King swept up the three of them and disappeared into the sea, avoiding the sea beasts and breaking through the waves like lightning. Now, the 9th and 8th teams have blocked the coastline. Without the help of Sea Lion Demon King, it would be difficult for them to get away. Because the Death God Army will definitely strictly check everyone who enters and leaves the Kuan Peng Sea region. And with Sea Lion Demon King leading the way, it was different. As a Demon King, Sea Lion had a certain reputation in the Kuan Peng Sea region. If the Death God Army saw him, they might not check him. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed. These days, the Kuan Peng Sea region was unprecedentedly lively. There were sea beasts everywhere looking for the whereabouts of Qin Feiyang and the other two. Fortunately, Sea Lion Demon King was there. Otherwise, Qin Feiyang and the other two would have been caught before they reached the coastline. Above a small island, Sea Lion Demon King suddenly stopped and looked at the sea ahead with a hesitant expression. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang and the other two also stopped and looked at the sea ahead suspiciously. There was nothing. We will reach the coastline in half an hour. Sea Lion Demon King said, Isn't this pretty good? You will be able to completely get rid of us in half an hour. Madman was taken aback for a moment and laughed. I'm worried that it won't be so easy to get past the Death God Army. Sea Lion Demon King was worried. Don't be afraid. Madman patted his shoulder and comforted him. The number of people in the two teams is indeed terrifying. But as long as we are determined to escape, they won't be able to stop us. You guys can escape, but what about me? I still have to survive in the Kuan Peng Sea region. When the Death God Army finds out that I am with you guys, won't I be dead? How about this? You guys go by yourselves. I will send you here. The Sea Lion Monster King looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two with a pitiful expression, as if he had been wronged. Chapter 44:28. Send someone to the end. Send Buddha to the west. How can you give halfway? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Can I beg you? I really can't take this risk. The Sea Lion Demon King's face was bitter, and he was extremely depressed. What are you afraid of? If you want to do this, I think you can only be a demon king for the rest of your life. The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain. If not a demon king, what should I be? Should I be a demon emperor? I don't have the strength. The Sea Lion Demon King pursed his lips. You're useless too. A mere demon king is already satisfied? The white-eyed wolf sneered. Contentment is bliss. The Sea Lion Demon King snorted coldly. Good attitude. I admire you, but what if there's this opportunity? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Huh. The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the white-eyed wolf in shock. Was there really a way to make him a demon emperor? The white-eyed wolf asked, what are the conditions to become the demon emperor of the Kuan Sea region? The Sea Lion Demon King pondered for a while and said, one is to be appreciated by Lord Kuan, and the other is to master 8 ultimate mysteries of the strongest laws. The first condition depends on you. But the second condition, we can help you. You now master 6 ultimate mysteries of the strongest laws, right? We'll give you 2 more inheritances, and when you integrate them, won't you master 8 ultimate mysteries of the strongest laws? Besides, now that the Sea Python Demon Emperor has fallen into our hands, there's a vacancy. The white-eyed wolf chuckled. Hearing this, the Sea Lion Demon King's eyes lit up. Don't say it. This was really a good opportunity. He looked at the 3 of them and asked, will you give me the inheritances? As long as you can safely take us out of the Kuan Sea region, let alone 2 inheritances, even if we give you a dozen or 20 inheritances, what's the problem? The white-eyed wolf laughed. The Sea Lion Demon King's heart thumped. If he could get 2 inheritances, it was worth the risk. However, he was worried that the white-eyed wolf was bluffing him. Worried? Tell us, what law do you lack? We'll give it to you right now. The white-eyed wolf said. Really? The sea lion's eyes lit up. If he gave it to him now, he wouldn't have to worry about the white-eyed wolf going back on his word. My words carry enormous weight. The white-eyed wolf nodded. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch said, I'm missing the law of destruction and the law of karma. Then, he grinned at the white-eyed wolf and said, it would be best if there was the law of light and darkness. Who was the one who said that contentment brings happiness? Now you're shamelessly asking for the laws of light and darkness? White-eyed wolf had a look of disdain on his face. Ha! The Sea Lion Demon King laughed dryly. We definitely don't have the laws of light and darkness. We still lack them ourselves. However, the laws of destruction and the laws of karma are minor issues. After White-Eyed Wolf finished speaking, he turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He secretly instructed Fire Lotus and quickly took out the inheritance of the laws of destruction and the ultimate profundity of the law of karma. Looking at these 2 inheritances, the Sea Lion Demon Monarch's heart was filled with joy. The inheritance of the ultimate profundity of the strongest laws was nothing to Qin Feiyang and the others. It was just a number. But for others, every ultimate profundity of the strongest laws was a priceless treasure. Just like the Skybell Divine Treasure back then. Not to mention the ultimate profundity of the strongest laws. Even if it was an ordinary ultimate profundity of the laws, everyone would risk their lives to fight for it. Take it. The white-eyed wolf grabbed the 2 inheritances and directly threw them to the Sea Lion Demon Monarch. Thank you. Thank you. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch held the 2 inheritances with a face full of gratitude. He really didn't expect to be able to obtain such a fortune. The white-eyed wolf asked with a smile, can you send us out of the Kuan Sea region now? Leave it to me. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch put away the inheritance and patted his chest as he vowed, you're really realistic. The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Previously, he even said that his mouth was dry, but this guy was unwilling. Now, after giving him 2 inheritances, his attitude immediately changed 180 degrees. The Sea Lion Demon Monarch laughed awkwardly and lowered his head to ponder for a while. He looked at the 3 of them and said, I'll take you to a place where you might be able to avoid the Death God Army's inspection. There's such a place? The 3 of them were surprised. I'm just saying that it's possible. Because this place is relatively remote, they might have missed it, the sea lion demon monarch said. So that's the case. Qin Feiyang suddenly came to a realization. He shook his head and said, then your hopes will be dashed. Since Dong Qingyuan has already given the order to seal off the entire coastline of the Kunpeng Sea region, the Death God Legion will definitely not let go of any place. That's true. The sea lion demon monarch nodded, his brows tightly knitted together. The white-eyed wolf said, why don't we take a detour and take a look? Maybe we'll be lucky and there won't be anyone guarding it? If they could avoid trouble, they would naturally try their best to avoid it. Yes, yes, yes. It won't waste much time anyway. The sea lion demon monarch nodded repeatedly. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. Follow me. After saying that, the sea lion demon monarch took a detour and flew to the west side of the coastline. Qin Feiyang and the other two followed closely behind. Originally, it would only take half an hour to travel straight. But now that they took a detour, it took them more than 4 hours to see the coastline. The coast in front of them was a cliff that was hundreds of feet high. Above the cliff was an endless dense forest. Splash, rumble. The waves rolled over and slammed against the rocks, creating a deafening sound. Follow me down quickly. Suddenly, the sea lion demon monarch secretly shouted and immediately turned into a stream of light, rushing toward a small island below. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other and hurriedly followed. The four of them landed on a mountain peak and concealed their aura. They used the vegetation in front of them to conceal their whereabouts and then looked up at the coast again. They saw more than a dozen figures standing at the edge of the cliff. These people were all dressed in black. Their bodies were straight and exuded a shocking sharpness. If one looked closely, one would find that there was a sharp sword pattern on their chest. This was the symbol of the Death God Army. There are really people here? The sea lion demon monarch frowned. They didn't even let go of such a remote place. I told you. They will definitely seal off the entire coast and won't ignore any place. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. You can still laugh? The sea lion demon monarch looked bitter. It seemed that it was impossible to avoid the Death God Army and enter the Central Dynasty without being noticed. It doesn't matter. It's just a dozen people. Just kill them. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Don't do it. It's different outside the Kunpeng Sea region. You can't open a space-time tunnel in the Kunpeng Sea region, and you can't send voice transmissions, so reinforcements are very slow. But it's different outside. Once you make a move, they will definitely call for reinforcements immediately. At that time, the rest of the Death God Army will come here in minutes. The sea lion demon monarch hurriedly grabbed the white-eyed wolf, afraid that the white-eyed wolf would rush out on impulse. The white-eyed wolf frowned and asked, "Then what do you think we should do?" The sea lion demon monarch lowered his head and pondered. The madman suddenly said, "Why don't we activate the concealment art and enter stealth mode and sneak out quietly?" You have such a method? The sea lion demon monarch was stunned and looked at the three of them in surprise. Yes. The madman nodded and glanced at the coast. He frowned and said, "But I'm afraid that they used the power of law to seal off the coast. This way, even if we enter stealth mode, we won't be able to get out." Why don't we take a closer look? Qin Feiyang asked. They were still a little far away and couldn't sense any aura. Okay. The white-eyed wolf and the madman nodded. Qin Feiyang immediately activated the concealment art and led the three of them away from the mountain peak and silently flew toward the coast. Can we really become invisible? The sea lion demon monarch glanced around and was a little frightened. Look at you. And you said you can take care of it? In the end, we still have to rely on ourselves. The white-eyed wolf snorted secretly. I thought there was no one guarding this place. Who would have thought that they would be so strict? The sea lion demon monarch smiled embarrassedly. Don't explain. Anyway, we can't count on you. I think you should return the 2 inheritances to us. The white-eyed wolf said. Don't. How can you take back what you've given out? The sea lion demon monarch hurriedly protected the interspatial ring, afraid that the white-eyed wolf would snatch it away. The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Soon, they were close to the coast. At this time, They were only a few hundred meters away from the coast. To them, a distance of several hundred meters was only a step away. Can we really become invisible? The sea lion demon monarch cursed. If they couldn't become invisible at such a close distance, the members of the death god army on the cliff would have already seen them. But now, these people all acted as if there was no one else around. There's the aura of a boundary. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the void on the coast and his pupils shrank slightly. Although he couldn't see the boundary with his naked eyes, he could vaguely feel the aura of the law. It was obvious. The coast was not only guarded by the death god army, but also blocked by the law-healing skin. It seemed that sneaking out with the concealment technique would no longer work. We can only rely on you. Qin Feiyong turned to look at the sea lion demon monarch and smiled. Okay, I'll try my best. The sea lion demon monarch nodded and said in a deep voice, let's retreat first and fly over openly later, lest they see us suddenly appear and say that we're sneaking around, which will arouse their suspicion. Since they had already accepted the inheritance, they could only bite the bullet. Quite smart. Qin Feiyong heard this and looked at the sea lion demon monarch in surprise. Nonsense. I'm a demon monarch after all. The sea lion demon monarch smiled proudly. As a demon monarch, how could he not have a brain? When they retreated to the previous island, Qin Feiyong turned off the concealment technique and followed behind the sea lion demon monarch, flying towards the coast. Not long after, the four of them approached the coast again. The members of the death god army on the cliff also immediately noticed them, and their eyes were suddenly filled with strong murderous intent. Everyone, don't misunderstand. I'm the demon monarch of the Kunpeng Sea region. The sea lion demon monarch quickly said. Demon monarch? More than a dozen people were taken aback and looked at the sea lion demon monarch suspiciously. Obviously, they didn't know him. This chapter ends. Chapter 44:29. Yes, I'm the Sea Lion Demon King. After saying that, the Sea Lion Demon King transformed into a sea lion that was hundreds of feet tall, and there was a dazzling divine light between his eyebrows. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at the Sea Lion Demon King's eyebrows with a hint of suspicion in their eyes. What's with this divine light? It's really a demon king. More than a dozen people looked at the Sea Lion Demon King's eyebrows, and the killing intent in their eyes gradually disappeared. This can prove the identity of the Sea Lion Demon King? What the hell? Qin Feiyong and the other two were very surprised and didn't understand what was going on at all. The Sea Lion Demon King transformed into his human form again, then pointed at Qin Feiyong and the other two and explained, they are my subordinates. More than a dozen people glanced at Qin Feiyong and the other two, but they didn't intend to verify their identities. Because in their opinion, since they had already verified the identity of the Sea Lion Demon King, Qin Feiyong and the other two, as his subordinates, naturally wouldn't have any problems. I seem to have heard that the 9 demon emperors have asked you demon kings to gather at Kunpeng Divine Island. But why are you here now? One of them looked at the Sea Lion Demon King suspiciously. The Sea Lion Demon King smiled and said, I'm going to visit a few old human friends. You have human friends? More than a dozen dark guards were surprised. What do you mean by that? I'm a demon king who has mastered the will of the heavenly Tao. Is it strange to know a few human friends? Besides, you can ask around. Which demon king in the Kunpeng Sea region doesn't have a few human friends? The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the dozen people unhappily. Hearing this, the dozen people were quite embarrassed. Indeed, although humans and sea beasts were not the same race, there were still many who had a good relationship. Some humans, sea beasts, or beasts were so close that they called each other brothers. Hurry up, don't waste my time, the Sea Lion Demon King urged. Although the other party was a member of the Death God army, he was also a demon king. Everyone had mastered the will of the heavenly Tao, so there was no need to bow to these people. More than a dozen people looked at each other. Then, they looked at the Sea Lion Monster King with a hint of mockery in their eyes. What is the meaning of this? The Sea Lion Demon King frowned. If it's any other time, we definitely won't meddle in your business when you visit your human friends. But this is a special time. It's a bit unreasonable for you to choose to visit your friend at this time. Now, Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King have entered the Kunpeng Sea region. As the Demon King, shouldn't you stay in the Kunpeng Sea region to help? I think you're just pretending to visit your friends. Your real intention is to run away from your responsibilities and seek refuge. One of them snorted. What nonsense are you talking about? The Sea Lion Demon King was furious on the spot and said, I just went to visit an old friend, and you put such a big label on me? May I ask what your intentions are? Then why didn't you go earlier or later, but now? More than a dozen people looked at him mockingly. You humans really like to meddle in other people's business. Fine. I'll tell you. In fact, I've already made an appointment with them to visit them today. Unfortunately, Qin Feiyang and the other two just happened to enter the Kunpeng Sea region at this time. The Sea Lion Demon King sighed. Don't make such excuses. A dignified Demon King actually ran away. After killing Qin Feiyang and the other two, we will definitely tell Lord Kunpeng about this. More than a dozen people mocked and ridiculed. Although their attitude was very unfriendly, at least they didn't suspect Qin Feiyang and the other two. Do as you wish. The Sea Lion Demon King sneered. Fine. Do as we wish. Today, don't even think about opening the barrier for us. The group of people smiled coldly. Although everyone had grasped the will of the heavenly Tao, as members of the Death God army, they felt superior from the bottom of their hearts, so they didn't put the Demon King in their eyes at all. You don't want to open it? Fine. Then don't blame me for not giving you any face. The Sea Lion Demon King hesitated for a moment, and finally his face sank. His aura surged out as he prepared to break the barrier by force. How dare you? This barrier is to prevent Qin Feiyang and the other two from escaping the Kunpeng Sea region. If you destroy it by force and allow Qin Feiyang and the other two to escape, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the responsibility. More than a dozen people shouted angrily. Don't use this to scare me. This prince is not someone who can be scared. The Sea Lion Demon King's eyes turned cold as he activated his 6 ultimate laws and blasted towards the barrier with a destructive aura. This beast is really difficult to deal with. More than a dozen people panicked and hurriedly stretched out their hands and shouted, Wait, we will open it for you. Wouldn't it be better if you did this earlier? Why did you have to hurt the harmony? Hearing this, the Sea Lion Demon King's attitude changed instantly. He looked at the dozen people and laughed. Then, with a wave of his hand, the 6 ultimate laws dissipated. More than a dozen people heard this, and a trace of contempt flashed in their eyes. A mere Demon King was qualified to talk about harmony with them? If it weren't for the big picture, they would have killed him today. One of them waved his hand, and a barrier appeared in the void. Then, a crack appeared in the void. Let's go. With a wave of his hand, the Sea Lion Demon King led Qin Feiyang and the other two out of the crack and landed on the cliff. When the 4 of them came out, the person who opened the barrier waved his hand again and the barrier quickly closed. We've finally stepped into the land of the Central Dynasty. It's really not easy. Qin Feiyang, frenzied one, and the white-eyed wolf glanced at the endless mountains in front of them with a smile in their eyes. Now, they could soar freely in the vast sky and high land. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the dozen people from the Death God army and secretly laughed. Old Qin, should we take this opportunity to get rid of them? Forget it. Don't complicate things. Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice. At the same time, the Sea Lion Demon King also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, he successfully left the Kunpeng Sea region with the 3 people. Although he offended the dozen people from the Death God army, when he thought of the 2 inheritances Qin Feiyang gave him, it was worth it. Thank you. The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the dozen people and smiled. He waved his hand and opened a space-time tunnel, leading Qin Feiyang and the other 2 into it without looking back. Dog, isn't it just a beast? What's there to be arrogant about? The dozen people stared at the back of the Sea Lion Demon King and cursed in their hearts. In the sky above a mountain, with the appearance of a space-time tunnel, 4 figures walked out one after another. It was Qin Feiyang and the other 3. Qin Feiyang, frenzied one, and the white-eyed wolf curiously glanced at the mountains below. The mountains were majestic and magnificent. In the mountains, ferocious beasts were everywhere, exuding a terrifying aura. Outside the mountain, a huge city could be vaguely seen. The sea lion demon king led Qin Feiyang and the other two to a valley below. Seeing that there were no ferocious beasts around, he looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two and said, "Let's part here and never see each other again." After saying that, he opened a space-time tunnel and turned to leave. "You're leaving just like that?" The white-eyed wolf looked at him playfully. "If I don't leave, should I accompany you to die?" The sea lion demon king snorted coldly. "Are you sure?" The playful look in the white-eyed wolf's eyes became stronger. The sea lion demon king turned to look at the white-eyed wolf and asked suspiciously, "What do you mean by that?" The white-eyed wolf said, "Returning to the Kunping Sea region is the real suicide." "Returning to the Kunping Sea region is suicide?" The sea lion demon king was taken aback. If Qin Feiyang and the other two's identities were exposed, he would definitely die if he returned to the Kunping Sea region. But now, Qin Feiyang and the other two's identities were not exposed. Why did the golden-winged wolf king say that? "It's okay. Don't worry. Think about it carefully." The white-eyed wolf laughed sinisterly, looked at Qin Feiyang and Frenzied One, and asked, "There seems to be a city outside the mountain. Shall we go and take a look?" "Okay." The two nodded. Just as the three turned to leave, the sea lion demon king hurriedly shouted, "Wait, can you make it clear? Don't just say half of it. It's making me anxious." He took a step forward and stood in front of the three, looking as if he would not let them go if they didn't make it clear today. Chapter 3. Release at 10 a.m. End of this chapter. Chapter 44:30. You're really stupid. Madman sighed helplessly. "Speak properly, others will attack you." Sea Lion's face darkened. "You can't even speak the truth?" Madman rolled his eyes and looked at Sea Lion. "Brother Wolf means that Dong Qingyuan and the others will be found out sooner or later that you took us out of Kunping Sea region. When you were on the coast, you didn't expose your identity. How can you find me?" Sea Lion was surprised. Madman looked at the sky speechlessly and pondered for a while before looking at Sea Lion. "Let me ask you, will our whereabouts be exposed sooner or later?" "Definitely. None of you are good people. Sooner or later, you will cause chaos in the Central Dynasty." Sea Lion said, "What did you say? Who's not good?" White-eyed Wolf stared angrily. How dare he scold them so blatantly? Sorry. My tongue slipped and I accidentally spoke the truth." Sea Lion smiled flatteringly. White-eyed Wolf's mouth twitched and he kicked Sea Lion on the spot, causing Sea Lion to grimace in pain. Madman was also speechless. They didn't know each other for long, and this guy became so unscrupulous in front of them? Continue. Sea Lion looked at Madman and laughed dryly. "Sorry, I'm not in the mood to talk now." Madman said indifferently, "Don't be like this." Okay. I apologize to you. I'm not good, okay?" The Sea Lion Demon King looked gloomy. Madman rolled his eyes and said helplessly, "In the future, when Dong Qingyuan and the others find out that we have left Kunping Sea region, will they think that Kunping Sea region has been sealed by the Death God army? So why can we still leave Kunping Sea region? And without anyone knowing? Not only will they think, they will definitely investigate the reason." Sea Lion nodded. "That's right. Not only will they investigate the reason, but they will also investigate the people, beasts, and sea beasts that left Kunping Sea region during this period," Madman said. And the Sea Lion Demon King nodded thoughtfully. The Madman continued, "Now is a special time. The Kunping Sea region has been sealed off. The Death God Legion that bears the heavy responsibility will definitely remember every living being that enters or exits the Kunping Sea region." Yes, the Sea Lion Demon King nodded again. "Especially you. I think the Death God army has a special impression of you because you are a Demon King. With your status and strength in the Kunping Sea region, it would be difficult for them to forget you. And most importantly, you offended them before. so they will definitely remember you for the rest of their lives. When the time comes, once Dong Qingyuan and the others start investigating who has left the Kuan Sea area during this period of time, the Death God Army will definitely think of you. This way, you will naturally become the target of investigation. The madman smirked. The Sea Lion Monster King's eyes trembled when he heard this. You should be clear now. Once they find you, it'll be useless no matter how you quibble. Because the Death God Army has seen with their own eyes that you indeed left the Kuan Sea region with 3 people today. Although we are pretending to be your subordinates, you have to know that Old Sheen, Brother Wolf, and I happen to be 3 people. Today, you just happen to leave the Kuan Sea region with 3 subordinates. If they don't find you, they won't be suspicious. But once they have their eyes on you, they will definitely think that the 3 so-called subordinates beside you might be us. The madman finished speaking in one breath and then looked at the Sea Lion Demon King mockingly. The Sea Lion Demon King's face turned pale. How is it? Do you still dare to return to the Kuan Sea region now? The white-eyed wolf grinned. You! The Sea Lion Demon King came back to his senses and looked up at the 3 of them with a face full of anger. He thought that he had already gotten off the pirate ship, but he didn't expect that not only did he not get off, he was tied up even tighter. Do you think we will give you 2 inheritances for no reason? We are not such generous people. The white-eyed wolf laughed. You are human. How can humans be so shameless? The Sea Lion Demon King roared, almost going crazy. You still blame us? It's your own greed, okay? If you were more resolute when we were about to reach the coast and would rather die than send us out of the Kuan Sea region, we wouldn't have been able to scheme against you. If that was the case, as long as we kept our mouths shut, they really wouldn't have found out about you because the Death God Army didn't see you. But you just had to be greedy for these 2 inheritances. How is it? Are you regretting it now? You really want to throw away these 2 inheritances? The white-eyed wolf chuckled. The Sea Lion Demon King glared at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 angrily. Don't wait for me. I didn't scheme against you. It was Senior Brother and the white-eyed wolf who schemed against you. Qin Feiyang expressed his innocence. Although he had already seen through the white-eyed wolf and the madman's thoughts, he really didn't participate. You guys are simply too much of a scam. The Sea Lion Demon King was so angry that he squatted on the ground and cried bitterly. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 looked at each other in dismay. Why was he still crying? No matter what, he was still a demon king who had grasped the will of the heavens, yet he was crying like a brat. How wronged was he? What should I do now? What demon emperor are you talking about? You can't even keep your life now. If Dong Qingyuan, Kuan Pong, and the dragon god really find out about me, even if I have 10 lives, it won't be enough. A middle-aged burly man was really like a brat, crying loudly. This made Qin Feiyang and the other 2 feel a sense of guilt in their hearts. Suddenly, the Sea Lion Demon King raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 with tears in his eyes, saying, You guys have to be responsible for me. This aggrieved look in his eyes caused Qin Feiyang and the other 2 to instantly have goosebumps. Responsible for you? Brother, you're just making things difficult for yourself. Hurry up and leave. Anyway, you've also obtained 2 inheritances, so it's not too bad. The white-eyed wolf quickly took a few steps back and waved his hand. What's the use of having more inheritances? The entire central dynasty is Kuan Pong, Dragon God, and Dong Qingyuan's people. Where can I hide? No. If you guys don't take responsibility for me, I won't let go. The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head and hugged the madman's thigh, acting shamelessly. The corner of the madman's mouth twitched as he said speechlessly, No matter what, you are still a demon king. Can you not be so shameless? We have already fulfilled our promise to let you go and give you the inheritance. What else do you want? Do you think I want to do this? I was forced by you guys. Think of me, a demon king who dominates a region, commanding billions of sea beasts. How impressive is that? Now, I've been cheated by you guys to the point where I don't even have a place to stay. I shouldn't have believed your nonsense from the beginning. Sigh. I'm still too kind. The Sea Lion Demon King sighed. Kind? The madman shuddered as goosebumps appeared all over his body. Another shameless guy. How about this? You want to find a place to hide and fuse with the inheritance in seclusion. At the same time, you want to see if they will trace it back to you? Qin Feiyong comforted with a smile. If I hide, they will definitely suspect me even more. Don't. If they find me, I won't even have a chance to ask for help. The Sea Lion Demon King kept shaking his head like a rattle drum. The madman said angrily, "Then what do you want? Do you believe that I won't kill you? I've done so much for you guys, and you still want to kill me? You are too inhumane. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Touch your conscience and ask yourself, are you still a human for doing this?" The Sea Lion Demon King said angrily. The corner of the madman's mouth twitched. This eloquence was quite amazing, cursing without using any vulgarities. All right, you can just follow us." The white-eyed wolf waved his hand impatiently. "You want to kill him, but this guy is crying and snot like a wronged little wife. You can't bear to kill him. But if you don't kill him, he is like a dog's skin plaster. You can't get rid of him." Really? You can't just say it. If you want to be responsible, you have to be responsible until the end. The Sea Lion Demon King looked up at the three of them. Damn it, I really want to beat you up. The white-eyed wolf clenched his hands. How is this a demon king? He is simply a scoundrel. Hee. The Sea Lion Demon King grinned and finally let go of the madman's thigh. The madman wiped the snot and saliva on his pants in disgust. Since you want to follow us, you have to be mentally prepared in advance. Because you know our situation. The entire Central Dynasty is our enemy, and we can lose our lives at any time. Qin Feiyong said. Then what can I do? At least there is hope if I follow you guys. But if I return to the Kuan Pongsi region, I will die. Let's talk about it later. Do you want to die? Of course not. You will definitely try your best to survive. As long as you can survive, won't I be fine? The Sea Lion Demon King chuckled. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at each other, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. This guy is smart, but he has been schemed against by them several times, and he doesn't even know it. But if this guy is stupid, how can he say such smart words? His intelligence is a bit incomprehensible. Let's go. Qin Feiyong smiled and flew out of the mountain with the three of them. The madman and the white-eyed wolf looked at the Sea Lion Demon King with disdain. What do you two mean? I am a demon king. Do I have to be so disdainful? Go to the Kuan Pongsi region and ask around. How many sea beasts are licking my face all day long to curry favor with me? I can't be bothered with them. The Sea Lion Demon King could bear it at first, but in the end, he couldn't help it and said angrily, Demon King? The two of them sneered. I have never seen such a shameless demon king. Wait, there is a question. I am a little puzzled. The white-eyed wolf looked at the Sea Lion Demon King's glabella and asked suspiciously, why did a divine light appear on your glabella when you changed back to your true form on the coast? And when the people of the Death God army saw this divine light, they recognized your identity as a demon king. I'm not telling you. The Sea Lion Demon King raised his head with a proud look. Can you not be so pretentious at such an old age? It's disgusting, you know? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. I am happy to. The Sea Lion Demon King snorted and moved to Qin Feiyong's side. He bared his teeth and said, Do you want to know too? I will tell you secretly, but don't tell those two bastards. Bastards? Qin Feiyong couldn't help but laugh. This Demon King is getting more and more interesting. End of chapter. Chapter 44:31. It turned out that the mark between the Sea Lion Demon King's eyebrows was called the Demon King Mark. The sea beasts of the Kuan Pong Sea region, as long as they became Demon Kings, would go to the Kuan Pong Island to find the ruler of this sea region, Kuan Pong, and plant a Demon King mark between their eyebrows. This mark was hidden between the eyebrows and would not appear unless necessary. And once it was planted, it would never dissipate unless the Demon King died. It could be said that the Demon King mark was something that the sea beasts of the Kuan Pong Sea region dreamed of obtaining because it represented extraordinary status and glory. In other words, The Demon King mark was the identity token of the Demon King. The white-eyed wolf asked curiously, "Do all the creatures of the Central Dynasty recognize your Demon King mark?" "You actually eavesdropped?" The Sea Lion Demon King glared at the white-eyed wolf angrily. "Get lost. Do I need to eavesdrop when you speak so loudly?" The white-eyed wolf's face darkened. "Even if it's loud, it's not for you to hear." The Sea Lion Demon King snorted coldly. "Are you looking for a beating?" The white-eyed wolf's eyes turned cold. More and more? Was he challenging his limit? Seeing this, the Sea Lion Demon King's attitude immediately changed. He laughed and said, "It's just a joke. You took it seriously. Are you bored?" The white-eyed wolf's mouth twitched. He was really a guy who knew how to take advantage of the situation. The Sea Lion Demon King shook his head and said, "Actually, not all creatures recognize the Demon King mark. After all, most of the creatures of the Central Dynasty are not qualified to come into contact with these things. So, only those with a little strength and a little status can recognize it?" The white-eyed wolf asked. "Yes." The Sea Lion Demon King nodded and then said, "I don't dare to say anything else, but those who have mastered the ultimate profound of the strongest law will definitely recognize the Demon King mark. It seems that your Demon King mark can be our pass to enter the city." The ingrate raised his head to look ahead and chuckled. While they were talking, the city outside the mountain had already appeared clearly in their line of sight. The city was very big. It was equivalent to tens of millions of people. Countless powerful auras could also be sensed within the city. Furthermore, it could be seen that the city gate was heavily guarded. Every single person that entered or exited the city had to be interrogated by the guards. There were a total of 10 guards in front of the city gate. Every one of them was serious in speech and manner, and their expressions were extremely cold. "Why is there an interrogation? When I came here in the past, there wasn't any." The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the crowd standing at the city gate, waiting to be interrogated. His face was full of suspicion. "Not in the past." Madman was slightly taken aback as he turned to look at the Sea Lion Demon King. "Yes. That's because no outsiders have ever invaded the Central Dynasty other than you. So there's no need for such tight security." As the Sea Lion Demon King spoke, he suddenly thought of something and shook his head. "No, someone is invading." "Who is it?" Madman was bewildered. Who else could it be other than them? "Qinbatian." The Sea Lion Demon King enunciated each word clearly. Qin Feiyong and the other two looked at each other and suddenly realized that they were talking about this mysterious young man. However, he really had to admit that this young man was really powerful, because all the creatures in the Central Dynasty were considered the eyes of the Emperor. If it was someone else, they would have been caught by the Emperor long ago and chopped into pieces. However, this young man had been in the Central Dynasty for so long and still hadn't been found. The Sea Lion Demon King suddenly seemed to have thought of something. Looking at Qin Feiyong, he asked in a low voice, "There are rumors that this Qinbatian is your ancestor. Is this true? What do you think?" Qin Feiyong asked back, "How would I know?" The Sea Lion Demon King was speechless. If he knew, why would he ask? "Qinbatian is indeed my ancestor, but this Qinbatian..." At this point, Qin Feiyong's face was filled with helplessness. "What's wrong with this Qinbatian?" The Sea Lion Demon King was suspicious. "Don't just say half the words. Isn't this deliberately leaving people hanging?" "Nothing." Qin Feiyong waved his hand and smiled. Seeing that they had reached the city gate, he turned his head to look at the Sea Lion Demon King and said respectfully, "Sir Demon King, please wait here. I will open the way for you." The Sea Lion Demon King's mouth couldn't help but twitch when he heard this. He said it as if it was true. Qin Feiyong pinched his throat, cleared his throat, looked up at the people in front of him and shouted, "Get out of my way!" Huh. As soon as these words came out, Qin Feiyong immediately became the focus of the crowd. The 10 guards couldn't help but be taken aback. They looked up at Qin Feiyong, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. "What are you still standing here for? Didn't you hear? Hurry up and get out of our way." Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and shouted at the top of their lungs, "Who are you? How dare you be arrogant in our Green Wind City?" The others didn't say anything, but the 10 guards were extremely unhappy. Who did you say was arrogant? Try saying it again. The white-eyed wolf stared at the 10 people, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. The 10 of them felt a sense of danger. Make way, make way. Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, and Frenzy walked in front with a cold face. They arrogantly pushed the people in front of them and opened a path for the Sea Lion Demon King. Presumptuous. The 10 guards shouted, and killing intent surged in their eyes. You are the presumptuous ones. Do you know who is standing in front of you? The white-eyed wolf snorted, full of arrogance. The 10 guards looked at the Sea Lion Demon King with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. One of the guards said with a sullen face, "No matter who you are, you have to follow the rules and line up at the back." Line up? You want our Demon King to line up? The white-eyed wolf laughed angrily. What? Demon King? The onlookers were shocked and looked at the Sea Lion Demon King. The 10 guards did the same. The corner of the Sea Lion Demon King's mouth kept twitching. You sure know how to act. Why don't you become an actor? Ahem. Since they had already flattered him to this extent, he could only cooperate with the 3 of them and show a proud expression. Are you really a Demon King? A guard carefully stepped forward and looked at the Sea Lion Demon King. Yes. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded. Boom. The next moment, a dazzling golden light rushed out from his forehead. Immediately after, a thumb-sized mark appeared. It was golden as if it was cast from gold leaf, and the shape was like a young Kuan Pong. This is the mark given by the divine beast Kuan Pong to the Demon King of the Kuan Pong Sea region. He really is a Demon King. The 10 guards' eyes trembled, and they hurriedly bowed and said, Greetings, Demon King. We didn't mean to offend you. Please forgive us. No need for formalities. The Sea Lion Demon King waved his hand, and the mark between his eyebrows also disappeared. In the eyes of the humans of the Central Dynasty, Demon Kings also had a pivotal position. After all, they were existences that controlled the will of the heavenly Tao. Thank you, Demon King. The 10 guards secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The white-eyed wolf looked at the 10 of them arrogantly and sneered. Do you still dare to say that we're arrogant now? No, no. The 10 of them hurriedly shook their heads and smiled flatteringly. Humph. The white-eyed wolf snorted, looked at the people in front of the city gate, and shouted, Why aren't you getting out of here? As soon as he said this, the people in front immediately scattered and retreated to the sides. The white-eyed wolf nodded in satisfaction, turned to the Sea Lion Demon King, and bowed. My lord, please. Okay. The Sea Lion Demon King nodded and strode toward the city gate. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 followed closely behind the Sea Lion Demon King. Seeing this, a guard hurriedly looked at his companion and said, They haven't been interrogated yet. Shut up. The other party is a Demon King. What are you still investigating? Yes, after all, a Demon King is not someone we can offend. For an existence like him, even if he kills us in public, the city lord won't say anything. The other 9 guards said one after another. Soon, Qin Feiyang and the other 2 followed behind the Sea Lion Demon King and smoothly entered Green Wind City. Is he really a Demon King? Didn't you see those 10 guards? They were all respectful to him. How could it be fake? But why would a Demon King come to our Green Wind City? For an existence like him, if he wants to go, he would definitely go to Tianjin City, Tianyue City, Tianyang City, and other large cities. Along the way, the pedestrians on the street all looked at the Sea Lion Demon King with suspicion. Now, this is great. Although we escaped the guards' interrogation and successfully entered Green Wind City, we also became the focus of attention. The Sea Lion Demon King looked at the crowd around him and speechlessly transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Isn't this the only way to show your prestige? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. The Sea Lion Demon King smiled bitterly. Awe-inspiring? What was the difference between him and a stray dog now? He really knew how to tell jokes. Now, shouldn't we be more low-key? He didn't understand why Qin Feiyang and the other 2 dared to be so high-profile. Were they not afraid of their identities being exposed? This chapter ends. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.